everyone! Welcome to the thing. It passed. The big beautiful bill that Trump was pushing, which had all his priorities in it that needed to be passed through Congress, has indeed passed. There's actually a lot of good stuff in there. There's a lot of apprehension about the size of it. We've talked about it on previous streams. Generally speaking, I lean to the direction of it's a good thing, but we have to put a lot of faith in Trump to do things properly for it to be worth it overall. We'll talk more about it during today's show. But before we get to that, we need to talk about something else. Let me see if I can just find this pretty quickly. So Pug posted about this earlier, not that Pug, the other Pug. So if I grab his post as image, I could find it. Or not. Oh, where did you post it? Since I don't know why it's not showing up now. Either way, Discord's added a new feature. You know what? Ronald also posted it. Let's find his one. Okay, there we go. Open link. This shit we need to talk about. So the stream will continue into politics and memes after this. Let's take down the count of the background for this one. The stream will continue into actual politics and memes after this, but we need to discuss Discord age verification policy. Verification, yes, okay. So yeah, this. Whenever you try and use an NSFW channel, you probably won't see this. But if you're in the UK or Australia, which is where they're rolling it out, you probably will, but you might not. My alt doesn't. My alt account, which is connected, it's on the public test build, so it couldn't even be that. Then again, I am also on a VPN, so it could be that. It could be that everyone in the UK gets this. Usually when you go to an NSFW channel, you just have to click to confirm that you're over 18, but now there's this, you have to confirm it. And the chances of this not being as a direct result of government pressure is very low. It probably is. But I wouldn't doubt that Discord also wants to do something about it. Now, the possibility for this to prevent children from being wrapped up in pedophilic behavior and make it harder for pedophiles to access children or for them to meet in general, fine. But I don't believe it should be necessary for adults to get permission from their government to look at tits on the internet. Now, I don't think it's a great idea for people to be going on the internet looking at tits either way, but that's a separate conversation. And not everything NSFW is simply pornographic. There's a few channels that we talk in sometimes that are marked NSFW just because we are confirming this is for content suitable only, or perhaps only, for adults. We're allowing anything in here, pretty much. Quattro's channel, for example, the text channel for his voice channel, is marked NSFW. It's not a porn channel, but it's just open to more than just the most safe content, I suppose. That's kind of up to Quattro what that means exactly. But either way, whatever you think. This is a bit too far for most people. Now, alternative ways of dealing with this are pretty thin, because if this becomes the standard everywhere, then I will have to do something about it. I particularly don't like the impression that this gives to new users that Cabal is enforcing this. It's not. This is not Cabal policy. Cabal policy is as long as you say you're over 18, not our problem. And whether you think that's good or not, I don't know, but I don't think having government intervene is the right answer either. So I'm not sure what exactly we'll do about this. I think the bare minimum is that if this continues and becomes policy across all of Discord, even if it's still country limited, because I think they are planning to roll it out to more countries, but it's just UK and Australia is the test for it. But if it becomes more widespread, I would at the very least put some sort of message to new people, maybe about half an hour after they first join, that just says, did you see a message in Cabal, in an NSFW channel about having to verify your age? We just want to make it clear that this is not our policy. It's a Discord enforced policy, and you don't have to do this as far as we're concerned. But I also don't want adults being forced to register with their government as adults in order to look at titties on Discord. So the other option that's available, which is a bit more iffy, is we could do our own informal verification of people that we know are adults, and then untick NSFW on a few NSFW channels and just restrict them to people with that role. Now, there's pros and cons to this. One of the main cons is that it could have legal ramifications if it becomes policy in the UK that you have to do this, you have to verify before you let anyone access pornography. I could be on the hook for it. I don't know what the relevant laws there are, but it's possible, so that could be a problem. But aside from that, it does require us to essentially do the verification. Now, for most people, we know whether or not they're adults already. But for some, like, what if we're not completely sure? How are we going to verify it? Don't know. Do we even need to bother? Should we just untick NSFW on every channel and just say, oh, you guys figure it out for yourselves? I don't know if that's a good idea either. We could have a separate section for NSFW channels and just make it extremely clear, like a yellow warning icon, NSFW channels, but don't mark them in NSFW. I don't know. What do you guys reckon is the best way to handle it? I'm doing this now because I want to hear your opinions. Because I'm not sure what the best way to handle it is either. I suspect this will become more common. They're not going to pull back from it, but they might pull back from it. They might not enforce this everywhere. I will now read some of your comments. Randall Thor says Matrix server for the win. I do need to look into setting one up. Unfortunately, a Matrix just does not have the tech that Discord has. It's nowhere near as convenient. It's not designed as a server-based platform. It's designed to be a Skype replacement. Oh, it has encryption. That's great. We don't need encryption. Not really. Yeah, encryption from governments, sure, it would be nice, but if they really wanted to, it's going to be a public open server. So yeah, there's some private channels perhaps we'd prefer to encrypt, but that's about all we'd care about. We don't talk about doing crimes in Cabal, do not crime. There's nothing that we need to hide from the government that, like, we're not a criminal organization, but we speak freely. And so that is something that, unfortunately, these days, you sometimes do have to hide from your government. Ghost says, this seems like an excellent way for Discord to kill its own user base. Maybe they're pulling a Tumblr. They're trying to get rid of the Tumblr or an OnlyFans, trying to get rid of the porn content so they can be a bit more respectable. If that's what they're doing, it's going to hurt them. I'm not saying I like that a lot of Discord is for pornography, but it's going to hurt them if they try that. Yeah, Quattro says about his channel, yeah, that's the intent. I get that sometimes conversations go places that are kind of NSFW, and to me it just made sense. Yeah, I think it does make sense. Avalon says, if you're dumb enough to admit to being under 18, you're banned for being too retarded for the internet. That is currently Cabal policy, yes. But this is not admitting to us, this is admitting to your government. And apparently you have to use a special app to do this as well. So it's all quite well identified. It is a privacy violation to have to do this. Let's see. Invader says he leaned towards having a role for it. Bright says, you verify by asking their mum. If their mum says they can see tits on the internet, they're allowed in. Well, which would you say is a bigger violation? Having to ask the state or having to ask your mother? Obviously, we can't ban titties. Die would commit Sudoku. So true. Invader says, at Die, we're discussing tits. Get in. Yep. Right, says, didn't TeamSpeak release a new version that's pretty good recently? I need to look into that one as well, but I don't think it's as good as Discord. In some ways, it will be better. Like technical aspects, it'll probably be better, but usability, possibly not. Both Matrix and TeamSpeak are becoming somewhat more viable alternatives. Trust me, they haven't been in the past, but they're becoming it because, as I say, Matrix was not built with the intention to be a Discord-like structure. It was built to be a Skype-like structure, which is so fucking stupid. But they added spaces, which is similar to a server. It's not as good, but it's similar to a server. Basically, what it means is you still... Imagine I have to go through every single channel in this server and set up the permissions for each of them individually, rather than having permissions that are blanket across the whole server. That's Matrix. And yeah, I can self-host, and we get encryption, but no one uses Matrix. They have to make an account on my server, which means that my server gets your IP. There's so many other little problems with this. And then I'm completely on the hook for anything posted in there as well, because it's self-hosted. Yeah, that's all doable. But there are a lot of downsides to it. I think we'd have a lot less people using it. Right now, it is going to be Discord for the foreseeable future, chat, I'm afraid to say. But as a backup, TeamSpeak or TeamSpeak, as far as I know, you have to pay for a bigger server anyway, even if you're self-hosting. With TeamSpeak or Matrix, there'll be decent backups potentially, but they're not good as the main server. I think the main server is going to have to be Discord. Now, there's two fixes to this that you can do yourself locally. It's not quite good enough for me. I want to have a general fix, but there's two ways you can fix this locally. And thank you to Pug and Ronald for discovering these fixes. One, if you use a VPN to a country that's not the UK or Australia, when you boot up Discord, that apparently bypasses this. Two, and this is retarded, I can't believe they left this in, you can just delete the pop-up and the black thing it puts over the top, and you can just use the channel like normal. Yes, they really did do that. Now I say that, I don't know, I haven't had this myself, I hadn't had a chance to play with it. I may be able to find more details when I do. But I assume if you press that little X button in the top right, it just goes back off the channel again. All right, read some more comments. No one says Tor IRC. It's an option. Kieran says, porn being far too commonplace and easy to access on the net aside, I refuse to allow the government any access to a person's sexual tastes and information pertaining to it. Shit, as it is a multiple RU18 box is really all you can do as a service is to gatekeep. The rest must be parenting. Yeah, there's quite a lot of little grammar mistakes there, but I do agree with you in general. Having to do carrier pigeons. We did talk about that the other day. Rand says, haven't they also been talking about adding ads to Discord? The moment they do that, I'll be using Discord in my browser and with an ad blocker. There's too many nonces, so they're overcorrecting, I think, possibly. And again, I agree with the hitting the pedos, but it hits other people too. So I'd argue just as an arse covering method institute a role for it. I could do. Discord is for porn and such groups like 647, I don't know what that is. We could, I mean, a lot of people have been asking for a while if we can move the NSFW channel somewhere else, maybe to their own section. We could do that and just have that section accessible only to people that we have verified as being adults. But we'd have to unmark those channels in NSFW. Not sure about that. Invader says, could add a role conditional to level 1 that you are 18 plus years of age. Yeah, but they already have to be 18 to be allowed in the server. So, I don't want to run our own verification methods just because the government's running theirs. I want it to be a default assumption that people either are adults or that they take the responsibility upon themselves and their parents, if they aren't, of clicking yes to that button. Maybe what I have to do is create some sort of contract. Because Discord has the NSFW where you just have to click to confirm you're 18. I could have my own one where in order to get the role, you have to click something that says, I hereby declare that all that stuff. But if it becomes the law in the UK that you have to verify with the government, then that ass covering is not ass covering. That doesn't help me at all. So I guess I need to find out exactly what the law is. If, however, the legal requirement in the UK is just that they have to confirm they're over 18 themselves, which has been on the internet for many years, then I could do that. I could write a system which would verify, and there probably already are bots that do this, that would just verify with a little pop-up that says, by clicking OK, you are agreeing that you're over 18, and then they click OK and they just get the adult, verified adult role, or self-confirmed adult or something like that. And then they can access the NSFW channels directly. But the channels have to be unmarked as an NSFW to avoid this. So I'm a little behind your messages, but I will catch up. And says that it's 100% getting patched if that is real. Yeah, it will be. The inspect element thing to delete the stuff here will probably get patched. But it's less easy to patch than you'd think, because this is just a web page inside a custom instance of Chrome called Electron. Unless they prevent you from accessing inspect element, which I don't think is particularly easy for the app in Electron. I'm not sure, actually. Maybe it's easier than I thought. But if they can't do that, then you'll always be able to skip past this. The only thing that they could do is to not just prevent you from clicking stuff in the channel or interacting in the UI, but to prevent any data from that channel from being sent to you until you've verified it. So on the server side. And they could do that, but that is more weight on their server, and they love avoiding that kind of thing. There's quote-unquote exploits in Discord, which are just design limitations because they wanted to be more efficient. I would go into them, but many of you already know what they are, but stuff you shouldn't be able to see, but they show you because it's just more efficient not to check whether you should be shown it or not. Invader says, like with an ad block, just eyedropper, delete it. What you want to do is open inspect element with Control-Shift-I, go to the element picker, click probably on the darkened background behind the pop-up, and then find where that is in the element list, right-click, delete node. If you've deleted the wrong thing, you can just refresh either with F5 or Control-R. F5 might not work, doesn't work in the client, might work in inspect element. Control-R works everywhere. And then it will, once you refresh it, it'll be back. But you can just delete it and then access the stuff behind it. That might continue working, as I said. But even if that's the case, I would still want to put some sort of message out that says, hey, this isn't us. We don't want to do this. And as I say, I might do more than that as well. Okay, let's see what else you guys have been saying. Well, just as Discord really wants to get rid of pedos, they'd have to arrest most of their admins. I don't know if that's true, but I wouldn't be hugely surprised. Since when does the Labour Party care about protecting kids anyway? Well, they don't, but this is a great excuse to get user data. Invader says, there is the cross through 18 emoji, yes, to denote NSFW channels if we needed to replace the Discord NSFW. True. And that would actually be way more clear, wouldn't it? Way more clear. But again, it's just like unticking NSFW in the Discord features when it is NSFW. There might be risks to that. It's the kind of thing where they might ban my account because it's NSFW, like I'm presiding over NSFW being posted in an NSFW channel. They might just ban my account. Or something. I don't know. There probably are consequences of that. But I've never seen anything. Actually, let's have a look. Let's have a look. See if it says anything next to it. Users will need to confirm they are of legal age to view the content in this channel. Explicit channels are exempt from the explicit content filter. I have the explicit content filter turned off, I think. But it doesn't say that you're required to do it. I think it's optional. So that might be okay. I'll look into that. But I might be able to untick that. NSFW. To be honest, though, if Discord is monitoring, if they're smart, then fucking debatable. If they are looking out for this, any server that suddenly sets all of its channels to non-NSFW after this are going to light up on their dashboard like a Christmas tree. So if I do that, it will not be soon, and it will not be all at once. And that's another thing as well. It might be configurable. It might be that I can turn this off. Now, I doubt it because I suspect it's due to government pressure. But if it's not, and if it's just a feature that we can turn off, that will also light us up on their dashboard like a Christmas tree. Any server that gets the choice to do this and turns it off, they're going to assume, okay, investigate that one for pedos. And they won't find any here, as far as I know. But they will still look into it, and then they'll find some free speech, and they might ban us there. So again, if it's possible to do anything to turn this off, I will do so only very, very carefully in such a way to reduce suspicion. All right, let's continue. Doesn't work. Delete system 32. How to verify age group. There's a requirement more of a. Yeah, I hope the NSFW channel marking thing is not a requirement. If so, it's an easy way of getting around this, isn't it? Which means the government will just pressure them more. Yeah, Glossy, why don't you tell chat about the pictures you've been sending to Cybersmith? Portia says, the whole problem with the furry lolly posts having nothing done about them for years, we know was a direct result of the admins getting caught with their own goon cave and what was in it. It was only after they started clamping down. I know that has been the case. I don't know if it still is. Yeah, I just don't know. I've heard rumors. But I wouldn't like to make such accusations without knowing. Erasum is still here, says Ghost. Yeah, I think there are a few people here that are like suspected or likely, but they don't have any roles. They're all white names and completely ignored by everyone else. I would consider instituting a policy that anyone that is beyond a certain threshold of certainty, a paedophile in real life just gets banned for being one. Maybe that should already be the policy. And it probably would be an informal policy if we had certainty. But the serious crimes rule covers that anyway. It's just that then they have to have actually done it for us to ban them rather than just having the intent. Because, I mean, Wick is not just probably a paedophile. He's actually a bit of an advocate for it. So maybe he should be gone. I'm open to creating policies like that. The moment I do create that policy, every single one of you is going to be saying, and here's why you should ban Falco. And it'll be hard to say no. Because he advocates for tuning children, which is not far off. Probably good to keep some, and it's necessarily just for show. Possibly no one, yes, possibly. But then we get this showing up, and people think it's the service policy. Of course, they may not all think it is. You all know now it's Discord's policy because I told you, but you may have assumed it was the server, especially if you didn't know anyone here. If you hadn't talked about this, if you were new to Discord, you might assume it's our server's policy to do this, which I don't like. The only real response is to ban all the UK and Australia from Cabal. Thanks, Bright. That might be a bit of a logistical issue. Ghost says, if there are token NSFW channels, make them Wes's channels. I don't know about that. Really good idea to ban anyone who advocates tuning anyone that's around. It's a free speech server, even for leftist ideas that I think are dangerous if implemented. True, Nomon, although it is currently only present in a couple of countries. I understand, Ran. I'm not taking anything here 100% seriously. Host Cabal in Somalia. Anyone who wants in needs a VPN connecting to cuck.wesy11.com, maybe. Advocate for harming children in any other context as a crime. Why not this one? It's a fair argument. Like the tuning thing is so fucking evil. The problem is it's quite widely accepted. I believe what Falco is doing is not reveling in the harm to children. I believe he's advocating for a commonly held leftist belief. And he's also advocating for all the supporting beliefs that come into that. And it doesn't look good at fucking all. But that's the problem with the left. What we'd be banning him for essentially is adhering to the modern left, which you could argue is a reason. But unfortunately, that is kind of a free speech issue. It's really, really close to the line, but it is still, I'm afraid to say, it does come back to a free speech issue. Watcher says, I would argue that it is not widely accepted, but only tolerated out of fear from the establishment. Yes, that's probably the case. And perhaps that is an argument. Like, if we were to say that, he advocates for direct paedophilia against children, he's a contact paedophile, but there are others of those who support it, so it's okay. No, fuck, it isn't. That doesn't count at all. So why would it matter if the majority of people supported tuning children? Good fucking question. Maybe it doesn't. Maybe it shouldn't. I hope you understand, chat. I am open to debate on this topic, on the question of whether Falco should be permitted to exist in general. I'm open to debate on it, but I have very high standards for banning people.
Let's say hang the nigger. I got the rope right here.
A lot of people say hang the nigger, and I get it. My general approach, though, is we don't hang the nigger just for being someone we don't like. No matter how much you don't like them, they'd have to actually be a risk to Cabal or to the safety of others or whatever else. Something actionable, something based on minimal standards for, like, minimal rules, minimal laws. Very few things that you can do to get banned here except overtly attacking the community as a whole, making the free speech environment less usable in a really significant way. Now, some people argue Falco's done that, and I've seen some arguments that he's started arguments or debates in certain channels, but there's always someone else joining in to make it happen, even though he's the one being utterly disgusting and probably baiting it. If I see enough argument to say that he's baiting it, deliberately baiting it with disgusting opinions, not just leftist ones, but overtly disgusting ones, then yeah, I'll start curating him out of channels where he does it. Gaming, Meme Shrine, I know he talks in those channels. No one says, I will say there is a certain benefit to having bad examples. And that's another thing. People enjoy having him here because they like arguing with him, because they like feeling that they're completely in the right in an argument, which is understandable. Who doesn't? Why I talk about religion. But he is completely detestable, not worthy to lick the shit off of any of your boots. And people appreciate having that. Some of you enjoy arguing with him, and if I take that away, then it's just ripping that away from the few of you that do enjoy it. So it is a sort of sideshow freak. It's the same thing as the titties. I don't necessarily endorse people viewing pornography, though difficult to avoid for some people. Much like I do not endorse interacting with Falco. I strongly endorse not interacting with Falco. But the few people that do, the few people that think that that is the correct balance for their life, that I'm not here to say that that's wrong. I'm not here to say that I know what they need in their life better than they do. It's up to them. And I want to provide a wide array of possibilities for people to explore here. It's supposed to be a sort of everything server. So if they think Falco is arguing with Falco is the right thing to bring their life to a balance, who am I to say it's not? And that's the kind of free speech principle. It's not up to me. I just manage the place, keep it safe from a few basic types of problems, a few really obvious ones. But I'm not here to pick and choose who we like and don't like. I got to see him breaking the rules or doing something that would break a rule that should exist but doesn't. I'm open to that too. UFC says, why keep Falco when we have Cybersmith? You take that the hell back. Cybersmith is leagues ahead of Falco. Calls in a time-traveling pedo to molest someone in the past. I'm sorry, what?
The idea of a contact pedophile, which I put in quotations, it's now being formed into a sort of ability. I proposed it gives you a Google Maps style readout to where the nearest one is, and then where the nearest untouched part of the woodlands is.
Mm-hmm. Fortress says, this isn't a matter of I simply don't like him. I know, I'm not saying it was. He says, I genuinely believe he is a hazard to any society that he crawls into. Hazard is the wrong word. It gives him too much power. I think he's actually pretty harmless in real life. I don't know this. This is pure suspicion, but I think he's fairly harmless. He's just completely fucking nasty. Because he has such a shitty life. And it's not sympathy in the slightest, by the way. He's definitely a product of his life, and he kind of deserves his lot. But it's the result of him having such a shitty life and having just absolutely no hope and wrapping himself thickly in leftist ideology. It's tragic, but he's completely to blame. No sympathy.
He's only harmless because he doesn't have the physical capability to harm people.
Maybe, but I believe the way he uses Cabal. He doesn't actually hate the server. He hates all the people in it because of what they believe ideologically, but he only really hates them because he knows he has to. What he's actually doing here, he can't give up his leftist beliefs. That's an invariant for him. And he can't interact with people in any meaningful way except negatively because of just how he is. Those things are invariants. So he finds somewhere that's free enough that he can speak, filled with people he disagrees with, and he just makes it utterly negative all the time because that's the only way he can actually interact with people out in the real world. As I said, it's completely fucking tragic, but he needs Cabal. I don't think he's going to try and fuck with it. He's going to fuck with the people in it, ideologically and in niggling little annoying ways, but he's not actually going to try and get the server taken down, I suspect. I have no reason to think he's reported anyone in the server, but maybe he has, but so maybe others have done so. We get no reason to know or tell from that. So it's my suspicion currently that he isn't actually a hazard, at least not to Cabal. He's just utterly detestable, but he's not that far off from being a hazard in terms of Like he has practically advocated for, or like incited child mutilation. He says that it's right that children be pruned if the doctor and parents consent, which, as we all know, isn't really good enough to prevent completely unjustifiable mutilation. Says also a tactic of Fed forum sliding applied to a chat service. Maybe. But if Falco is a Fed, then he needs to fucking change his line of work. It's not good for him. And he's not really doing anything. He's not really affecting the situation. He's just confirming that leftism is evil. All of us that already know, which is we all do. Leftism today, at least. Invader says, reminder, Pedoshin is banned from Vorsh's server. Not even Vorsh wants him. It's not that I want him. It's because Vorsh doesn't have free speech principles. We do. It's because we're better than them that we allow anyone, including a lot of people here who would be banned from Vorsh's server, but aren't banned from here. Kieran says, Falco hates himself and projects. Yes. It's his go-to defense mechanism, and it's seriously ingrained into his psyche, as you can see in just about any interaction with him. Yes. Yeah. It's tragic. Falco. It's, he is less to be feared as a powerful entity and far more to be idly pitied as a tragic, just a tragic slug, a failure of humanity. Avalon says, funniest shit is Falco getting banned at a leftist server for speech he did in Cabal. Yes, that happened. I'm honestly not a fan of Falco, but that makes me proud that we are actually pro-free speech. Not everyone is. Cortez says, while I defend the concept of free speech, I do believe that there does have to be a line drawn somewhere, especially when someone is advocating for harming those who cannot defend themselves. Yeah, if he was actually inciting it directly, rather than just saying it's an acceptable medical procedure, it's a not very much of a variation there, I agree. But it would be tribal of me to count that as the same thing, I think. I don't know, maybe we shouldn't care about the Overton window, but then that's just applying my own politics as the current standard. Leftism is so extreme, you could argue that things that are normal for them to advocate are actually so barbaric they shouldn't even be allowed to be advocated for. Could argue that. I'm open to that. I posted a genuinely valid reason for Falco to be banned, says Matthias. He says he should be banned for wasting a perfectly good salad. Oh, that's so true. So true. No, I don't advocate for people sending him stuff in real life. I don't advocate for people interacting with him in real life. It's not fucking worth it. It's not worth your time. He's not worthy to lick the shit off your boots. Even the people that doxed him. Falco's not worthy to lick the shit off their boots. Cortez says, following the Overton window is what caused things to get this bad. I'm not following it, but just, it's a free speech server. What are the limits of that? What are the absolute limits of that at the point of advocating for things? Is there anything people can advocate for directly? And it's incitement and advocation are closely connected. They're not very easy to distinguish between each other sometimes. I'm not talking about following the Overton window in terms of what we do, just about what speech is acceptable. I think the rules as they stand are probably fine. And he stays just clear of them. I think the problem is mostly solved if he is curated out of areas where he just makes them worse. Like the curated collections channels, I'm willing to curate him out of those. If any of you see examples of him clearly, intentionally baiting people into having shitty arguments on topics, or in just making the channels worse without it being clearly mutual, then I may well remove him from those. Maybe I'll just do it anyway, because I know how bad he is. A peaceful axe attack in Germany on a train. JPEG, was that you? Avalon says, 1A is a good standard, First Amendment. Only direct and imminent incitement to crime or criminal speech by itself, actionable defamation, is forbidden. What do you mean? Do you mean defamation there? Do you mean incitement? Busak says, he does his baiting shit in every channel. Just fucking lynch him, says Busak. I know that I probably should remove him from the curated collections channels. Wasn't me, says JPEG. You sure? Porter says, Falcon never stops with his baiting. I'm surprised no one's called him a master at it yet. Attempting subversion but failing miserably, says no one. He's like the Jews if the Jews were literally retarded, he says. Amateur baiter at best. Yeah, indeed. Yeah, I will consider that. Ravelin says defamation is illegal and direct incitement to crime is not protected. I don't think defamation is. I think it's civil matter. Defamation. It's not against the law. I'm not sure actually. Depends where you are. But I don't think it makes sense for defamation to be against the rules in Cabal because it's way too easy to fake, and then I have to have a position on the matter. It's a social matter. It should be dealt with between people. But I'm quite happy to defend people on defamation. As you hopefully have noticed, I'm quite happy to defend people when it comes to defamation, as with Wes. And if I'm willing to do the right thing with someone who was that popular and that much of a risk to tear Cabal apart, then I think hopefully you can have confidence that I will do that in every case, chat. Every case where it should be done. Yes, as an average, I'd call him an attention whore, but I'm afraid he'd like it. Oh no. Yeah, indeed, Quattro. The correct solution to Falco is for everyone to block or ignore or mute him. Completely ignore him. But some people can't help it. Coincidence, Ferdinand. We weren't actually talking about him. I was just using him as an example, as usual. So yeah, this turned into more of a topic, more of a discussion about Falco than about the age verification policy. But back to it. You've given me some good suggestions, chat. I'm not sure what to do yet. Whenever I have conversations like this, I never make a decision in the middle of a conversation. I always prefer to give it some time to percolate before I make a decision. But the same thing will happen here. But I do want your input on this. I need to look into whether Discord requires you to mark channels as NSFW if they are. I will look into that. If they don't, if it's not part of their policy that you have to, then I will consider, seriously, unmarking them as NSFW by Discord's official metric, and then putting some other way of marking them in. Maybe putting them in a category that's near the bottom of the server that just has a big warning icon that says NSFW or like, in brackets, adult content, that kind of thing. Not all of the channels that are NSFW will be there, but the ones dedicated to pornography will be. Quattro's channel, for example, I'll just say that NSFW content is allowed in there, even though it's not marked NSFW. And some others the same way. Events 4, same way. Bright says, can you mark a whole server as an SFW, and what happens to the UK people if you do? Good question. I don't know. I don't think you can mark a whole server that way, but you might be able to. Matthias says, the Troon's offering to bring us better quality lol cows. You might even get a new Eufio. Eufio was a significant step above Falco. Go for it. Glossy, the Cabal's policy on inviting people is invite pretty much anyone, except people who would instantly start reporting and try to get the server takedown. Like, don't invite a New York Times journalist. But you can invite people that are friends, even if they're leftists, as long as they're not too militant, i.e. that they would try and get the server taken down. It is an open free speech server, publicly accessible. And when someone's a white name, then people think of it as like an immigration surge where you get a bunch of new people coming in and they're of a different culture. Well, here that's enforced by the roles. Yes, they can be in the server, but they only affect the culture if they're actively involved in the community. And so just them being in the server is not the same as a sort of mass immigration analog in real, from real life. Them getting roles would be. If a bunch of new people came in and they were from a totally different kind of community, and they all suddenly got levels 1s and 2s and all kinds of things, then you should be worried. That's the equivalent of real life mass immigration. But that's not going to happen. We have standards for those kinds of promotions. They happen slowly and as a result of community integration and trust. Level 1 is for people that are probably safe and won't harm the server, probably. Level 2 is for people that we actually like. And for level 3, it's people that we significantly trust and respect. So that, it would already be the requirement. So people that are level 0, white names, they're not even resident immigrants. They're just sort of at the gates. They're at the asylum centers waiting to be checked. But unlike in real life, that doesn't cost us anything to delay that. They have significantly less access. But then once we believe they're probably safe, they get level 1, which is still not citizen. That's more like a denizen that's free to walk around the state, right? And then level 2, that's more akin to citizen. Level 3 being more like a representative or an official citizen or a franchised citizen, perhaps. but franchised to a higher level. So it's for picking who else gets that role. So it's not quite the same as the voting franchise in real life. Now, Kieran says, community streams have overlays, asking before committing to the bit. Sure, why not? Let me get that up so you can see. I'll leave that there for a minute. Bossy says, let me try and get Hickey in here. He's a lawyer and will want to post liberal BS every day. All right. Hopefully that goes okay. I don't have anything particularly against that. Interesting idea. I've been noticing, sorry, quickly, massively change the topic. I've been noticing for ages frequent FPS drops, just like sudden FPS drops, like spikes in CPU, and then the FPS on OBS just drops for a second and then comes back up again. And it's just occurred to me that that's the same pattern you'd expect from a garbage collector pause. And I have at least one Node.js program running on here. You know what it could be, though? It could be Discord screen share, filling up RAM, and then having a long GC every time. Because it does happen when Discord screen share is happening. How can I change that? Is there a version of the Discord client that's not garbage collected? I don't think so. I think it's only Node.js. And I doubt Firefox has a better GC than Chromium, not significantly. Maybe I could find some command line parameters that would change the GC style. Maybe they would do smaller GCs or have a larger, bucket for memory before it has to do a GC. I will look into that. That is an avenue. Eric says, stream at a lower quality and see if the frequency of pauses changes. Yeah, we could do that. It's already at 720p. And there's only one of them, only one stream currently. But chat, just for now, I will not leave this on for too long. Remind me if I forget, because it'll be hard to read. I'm going to change it's also at 15 FPS. Why didn't any of you fucking tell me? I'm going to turn it down to 480, but up to 30 FPS. So you'll have more smoothness and lower resolution. When we actually get to reading articles, it may be hard to read the text at 480p. So tell me, and I will remind me, and I'll put it back up to 720. We're going to see if that improves the pauses at all. Because when I looked into it before, I'm pretty sure the interruptions were coming from the transcoding of the Discord screen share. I think they were. We'll see if that helps at all. And if that does help, it's probably just a CPU upgrade I need. JDF says make it 16-bit, as opposed to what? Like it's already looking compressed. Yeah, it will already. What is this? Matthias says we don't need another Duchess sex cult. Yeah, it's sort of how we lost Libby. I think Libby was taking a break from Cabal for real life stuff anyway, but then the break extended because he got Duchessed. Rand says, do you still use CPU encoding? I am currently, as a test, to see if it makes any difference. Since I switched down to 480p, I've not noticed any frame drops in OBS. I think it is this. Doing the Discord screen share has always been a fucking pain. I would much rather just send an RTMP stream out somewhere, but if I can use a second PC to actually share it into Discord, that would solve the problem. But probably also getting a better CPU would do so. They might be, Invader. It might be. But probably not. Cortex, I think Discord changed something in the back end recently, because I've also had issues like that. I've been having them for ages, probably more than a year. But they have seemed to have stopped now. See, if it happens again, it could still be that it's less frequent. But the idea of it being a garbage collection pause is definitely a viable idea, because it follows the same pattern. Garbage collection pauses often interrupt everything, but they should only interrupt stuff on their own process. They shouldn't interrupt everything else. Not sure. But I guess it does spike CPU usage when it happens, though. Anyway, it is the best one, Ran. But it has its issues. Anyway, yeah, someone contributed for the overlay, didn't they? Okay, thank you to Kieran, who said, Jusaloo overlay just because. You're welcome, Verdant. Bussy Smith, a nigger monster, Cloptro. All right. I will add that now. So
Jesus Christ.
usually 25, that goes on, and then we find the Jewish overlay. Usually go. Oh, this won't be a Mulberry. There you go. There is the Jews overlay. Furthermore, chat, we are now moving into the second portion of the show. I'm sure that there'll be more conversations about this in the near future in Discord. So be sure to be in Cabal for us to figure out what we're doing with this. So other than that, we have another thing to talk about, which I will not spend too long on, but is a new feature that you will all enjoy. And it's called Cabal Aid. If you would have a look in live chat right now, you will see the current Cabal Aid leaderboard. Now, many of you know about this because I've been talking about it a lot recently, but a lot of you don't. So here is the introduction. Cabal Aid is the new topic popularity stream. Yes, Cabal Aid. That was an intentional near miss on that name. It's the new topic popularity system, basically, and it works a bit differently. It's a whole new code base, so there'll be loads more innovation here. But it works a bit differently. Instead of each topic decaying, each user's rating decays. So, for example, currently it's only pulling in contributions from Subscribestar, but I will pull in more sources as we go on, including quality posts and time active in voice channels will also contribute towards your rating. If you have contributed on Subscribestar, then that applies to your rating, but then it gradually decays over time by one point per day. Any amount that you gain holds for a month before it can decay, but then it all decays by 1 per day. And that's across all contributions, not each one. So your rating decays, but the actual topics, they just count who is supporting them. A yes or no, are they supporting them? Which means there is absolutely no downside or limit to you taking part and supporting, denouncing any topic that you like or don't like. You never know what kind of effect it might have, meaning that the number of people who support Cauldron should be roughly the same number of people who are in Cauldron. And people that denounce Orbos should be the same number of people who are in Amulet, Cauldron, and Spire. There's no real limitation to doing so or not. So start supporting and denouncing things freely. Of course, you'll need to look out for what names other people are using so that you can align and support things together. But there's no cost to doing so, and your points, such as they are, will be added or subtracted from anything on the board as soon as you have points to spend or take away. Now, this is not only accessible to people that have money that they want to contribute towards Cabal sustenance. It's also available for people that don't in the form of multipliers. Because if you look on the leaderboard, the multiplier over on the right there, let me get a screenshot of it actually so I can show this properly. Wizards Initiate, by the way, won't be used for this for very much longer. That's just my testing bot. And then we get, where is it? Most recent screenshot. There we go. So as you can see on the right here, there's the multipliers. Can I put this? Yes, down there. The multipliers are based on how many people support versus denounce the topic. So it's supporters minus denouncers, and then there's a bit more math that's added on. So if you don't have any money to contribute towards Cabal, but you still want to affect the board, you should still say support or denounce these topics because you can affect the amount they have. For example, you can see Falco for Band there on the screenshot has 14 supporters and 0 denouncers. And because it has 14 supporters, it has a 1.5 times multiplier, which means that this number here, the actual amount of score it has, is 1.5 times higher than it would be if just the people that had points were supporting it. So it's always best for you to support or denounce whatever you think should be supported or denounced. Now, what would be the point in doing so? Why would you bother? What does it do? Similarly to the old topic popularity system, which will be sticking around for a while as we transition gradually and with user consent to this one. Yes, consensual transitions. Just like the old system, we will be basing certain things that happen in the server on the state of this board. So, for example, I don't think I'll do this yet, but Kitten could be decided by the board, by this board. Who is set to Discord Kitten could be decided by this. Currently, Ginger. it would be made Kitten. So there's that. And there's all kinds of other things that we can do as well. Support topic 8-bit for Matthias's wife. There you go. There you go, Ghost. Anyone that's level 3 can access this leaderboard and even post it publicly by doing /leaders. And you can use the public option to configure to post it publicly. Obviously, please be careful not to spam this. I trust level 3s not to spam it. But you can also just show it only to yourself if you want to do that as well. So if you only want to see it for yourself, do so. But you can also post it publicly. So someone test if you can. Shove it into live chat. Kieran says more realistic would be Matthias for 8-bit's wife. Not sure about that. So let's see how many of you have actually entered something. Quite a few of you are interacting with the system, which I appreciate. As I said, even if you don't have any coins, if you don't have any points, any rating, when you do, it will just apply to everything that you supported or denounced. And there's no cost to applying supports or denounces. You can do it to as many topics as you want, and you can revoke them at any time. So unlike in the previous system, if you misspelled something, well, too fucking bad. In this system, you can easily just revoke it and put it back on again with the right spelling. The new system also, as you can see, allows for topics that have spaces. You can have apostrophes and dashes and numbers and capital letters and whatnot. Although on the display, it will show up as title case, so everything is capitalized. But I can change that in future as well. Pug says Matthias will just create 15 topics. Yeah, that's a possibility, and I may do something to manage that better in future. We'll see. We will see. Matthias does have a significant amount that he can put towards any topic, but with the power of denouncing and with the power of other people supporting things, it's not completely one-sided anymore. So I think this will be better overall. There will probably be some things that we need to fix with it. But bear in mind, this was all made in like a day. I finished the rating system, which was extremely complicated, and then I basically made this in a day. So that's to give you an idea of how much innovation I can do now that I've got a code base I actually like up and running. So keep an eye on this space. I have a lot of ideas to improve things. I'm thinking that I could do a version of the leaders board or a version of the command where you can type in a command, and then if you enter like a search term or a regex maybe, it will only return the things that are of that term, which means that we can do kitten boards, we can do house boards, we can do whatever. I can tag certain things, and I can even automate the kittening. Triple says this gives me a comic idea. Oh no. Okay, should we see if you can get an end tower on the Cabal leaderboard chat? I see Kloptro is on there as well. OV for kitten, Nigger monster. I think what I might do in terms of kitten is let me get an updated screenshot here. In terms of who is Discord kitten, I might allow just the whoever it happens to be who has put the most towards kittening people, I will let them decide when we switch over from the old system to the new system with a maximum limit. So if we get to a certain point, then I will just switch over. But if they wanted to switch over sooner, I'd be open to doing so. Bug says, damn, maybe I shouldn't have mentioned the 15 topics idea. Fortress says, why of all things did it have to be that? There's so many other perfectly valid and arguably funnier things to make fun of me for. Yes, this is the right way to see what I supported already. Not currently, but I will add that. This is a very early system. I will add that. Kinetic learning, whatever the code is, says Kieran. Everyone learns the same way, Kieran, through experience. But trust me when I say that there is no harm to just using /support and entering any topic that you support. Pick one from the list. And also no harm to doing /denounce. It doesn't cost you anything. No one can see that you've done it. And all you got to do is be honest about your intentions, and the result will reflect, however slowly, in the system. Of course, this is Wes doesn't learn. True. P.S. says, I literally forgot what I did and didn't support, and there are quite a few I'd like to support. Well, there's no harm in supporting it again. It doesn't toggle it. So if you want to support something and you're not sure if you did already, just type it again. It'll be fine. What I can also do with this, I see people are trying to get the end tower on there. Let's see if they've succeeded. They haven't appeared on the list yet. So, someone has entered according to all known L. I think according to all known laws of aviation, a bee cannot fly or something like that. No, there's a 24 character limit, I'm afraid. Jesus, Cloptro for kitten is... Oh no! Quattro, I have bad news. I have very bad news. Cloptro for kitten is currently in the lead. If anyone wants to save Quattro from his fate, you can denounce Cloptro for kitten now. But, as I said, it's going to be up to the person that's put the most towards kittening people when we switch over to using this for kitten rather than the old one. Repeal the 19th is on there as well. One gamer says, does placing a denounce on something you supported remove the support? Yes. It's one or the other, and revoke removes both. Says, what are you willing to give me to revoke my support? To Quattro. Oh no. Are any of you helping out Quattro by denouncing the topic? Have a look. Yeah, I can see one or two of you are. All right, let's see what the result of those changes are now. Oh, he's back down. He's not at the top anymore. It's back to being Ginger. Ginger's not here. Not Ginger Daniel, the real one. You may be in danger. What's this? Or support your local nigger monster, says Pug. That's true. That would also get it above. So yeah, I think this will be a more honest reflection. Now, the thing you pointed out about whoever has a lot of coins being able to just spam the board with topics, that is a good point. I will definitely consider that. The way it worked before was topics that are only supported by one person don't show up on the board at all. I might do that. Actually, I think I will do that. It only takes two then, conspiring, to do that. But then who am I to say that's wrong? Kieran says, who can put topics up? I'm proud of the psychic damage Cyberosy caused. Anyone. When you type in support, you can just type in anything as the topic. Of course, to popularize it, people have to be aware of it. So you would have to advocate for it and advertise that you want that. But you can name the topic anything you want. There's a limit on the characters that you can use. It's only A to Z, capital A to Z, 0 to 9, and you can use spaces and you can use dashes and apostrophes. So you can type all English words, and there's 24 character limit. Other than that, there's no limitations on what you can enter. Yes, as if the coins would be spread between topics, that'd probably, that's not the right solution with respect, Pierre, because everything I've been saying so far about you being able to support anything you want and there's no downside to doing so, I want that invariant. And if it's spread across all of them, as one of the earlier designs for this did have that, and I know a good way of doing it too, and I might use that for something else, but if we were to do that, it would remove that invariant, and it would then, people would have to be very careful about what they supported. And I would rather it just be completely open. Doug says, all English words can't even type the alphabet SMH. You can. Well, you can type the alphabet up to up to W. Oh no, up to X. You can go up to X. So if you did /support and you could type every letter up to X, I think. You couldn't get Y or Z. X says, what about having a topic visible if only one person supports it, but nerf the value to the ground until multiple people support it for the sake of discoverability? What we could do is we could have the multiplier, where the multiplier only gets to 1.0 when, say, 3 people support it. And before that, it's at like 0.1, then 0.2 when 2 people support it, and then 1.0 when 3 people support it. We could do that. Bussy Smith for admin, says Kieran. Support it for chaos. All right, let's see if that made its way onto the board, shall we? It has made its way onto the board because there are currently 60 points into it. Interesting. Well, that is an option if people would like to support that. I'm not sure why they would, but they can. Naturally, Tomboy Supremacy is still at the top anyway. The reason that was at the top is not just because Matthias kept supporting it, it's because everyone fucking agrees. Poor Ginger. Oh, he's shrugging about it. Oh, he doesn't care. He don't care. Sure you don't, Ginger. Kieran's the arbiter of chaos. Architect of chaos, rather. Right. So what we can also do with this is we can have democratic votes. Because you can see it shows the number of people that have voted for each thing. Currently, Falco for banned is the most democratically popular topic by almost a factor of 3. And no one's against it. Even though no one with a huge amount of coins has supported it, it's very far up the board because of the number of people that have supported it. And the thing is, I will take this seriously where I think it's serious. I will take it as advisory. I already know that everyone wants Falco banned. Don't worry about that. But if there's any other topic that I don't know that people want, and they can communicate it via this board, well then so be it. Okay, Keege or whatever has just tried to enter support, but for some reason it didn't work. Do Control-R. If you do Control-R, you should be able to see the commands pop up in order to use them. I could add something to the system which would catch times that people actually type out the command and then parse it and put it into the system like that, and then delete where they entered the command. I could do that. That's not a bad idea. Ghost says, are you able to see who supports and denounces certain topics? I know we can't, but are you able? Technically, I could go and find out, but I haven't made a UI to do so. And I probably won't. I will probably respect people's privacy unless I need to find out to diagnose a problem. Budden says, do you really know how much they want him banned? I think I already do, but the picture is becoming clearer with the number of people voting here. Eric says, which is better, support or denounce? Vote with support or support denounce. Okay, chat, you can vote for which you think is better, either supporting or denouncing, and you can support the one that you think is better and or denounce the one you think is worse. So thank you, Eric, for setting up that very meaningful decision process. Let's go and see what people have chosen. There you go. Denounce and support are both on there. Truly, people have really come to Kloptro. I mean, Quattro's defense here, and he's no longer near the top for Kitten. Solus is down with the two-party system. Support, revoke. Ah, yes, Nigel Farage of the Revoke Party. What would this even do? I love how this is the first major meme of the system, other than Kloptro, is support versus denounce versus revoke. This is the true politics of the 21st century, chat. It's just supporting random meaningless words. Oh, better than randomly meaningless parties, I suppose. Is no one going to support Let's Go Bomb Tel Aviv? Do not crime. Bussy Smith. Why are 5 of you supporting Bussy Smith for admin? What is wrong with you people? Kieran says, yes, the Jew rallying Nepo support from behind the scenes to get his way. Damn you, Kloptro. Quattro, you stand accused. How do you respond? Let's update the screenshot, shall we? Go says, damn it, I can't support memebot commands. It's got an equals sign in it, and it doesn't accept that. Brand says 15 seems fed. Posty. It's the acronym for LGBT. Goes as how else am I supposed to share? Please clop. Chat. Shall I allow equals just because it's the meme bot? Should I do that? Should I do that just so people can support Nigel Farage of Revoke? fucking do it, coward. You won't. I was originally planning to integrate a sort of meme bot into this system, but I might still do something like that, but I'm not going to do it exactly the same way. Yes, Kieran, I believe that picture may have been lightly touched up, maybe lightly, gently edited.
It was a light molestation.
Invader there talking about his time with Duchess. Why do you have such loud background noise? Welcome back, Quattro. You have been rescued from being Kloptro by a large number of people, but then you were referred to as a subversive Nepo baby who called in the troops to defend you because you're Jewish. It wasn't me that said that, incidentally. You failed, Invader. All right, should we see who's winning between Denounce, Support, and Revoke? All right. Currently, Denounce is way in the lead. I assume that's because Matthias has supported Denounce. And I assume then Support has been denounced by Matthias, who has well and truly put his flag in the ground on Team Denounce, and seems to be ambivalent on the Revoke topic, which is down below. Glossy says, one of you is getting called a slur if I don't get perms soon. Listen, Glossy, you probably shouldn't have been quite so upfront about being a true. Nigga Monster is gone, this is Pug. He is! How did that happen? Oh, you know what probably happened is Matthias withdrew his support for it to make sure 8-Bit Kitty was the highest for Kitten. Is that something that can happen? There's a lot of complexity that can come out of this. It's far more democratic than it used to be. Yeah, Matthias is asking for roles, add a month to the wait time. Unfortunately, that can happen. Glossy says he's not a troon. He detransitioned now, and he's an alpha male. Fucking press X, chat. Verdon says, is Matthias really 2K in value? No. No, he's more than that. Matthias says, it wasn't 8-Bit Kitty I was pushing for the top, wasn't it? Was it Kloptro? Oh, right, I see. Oh, no, Kloptro is back near the top again. Quattro, would you like to come into the host's channel and address this controversy? All right, Quattro, tell me, what do you think about this this new development?
I really should have seen this coming.
Pug says Kiketro. He wouldn't have a problem with that. He wouldn't have a problem with that.
Yeah.
Kieran says Glossy comes with a Nick Fuentes.
At least it's accurate, you know?
Kieran says Glossy comes with a Nick Fuentes alpha seal of approval, yeah. Go on.
You know what I can say?
Mm-hmm.
My ego is not made of paper mache and glass, so honestly, I'm not particularly broken up about this.
Well, you know what I have to say to that? You know, some people would agree. They'd say yay. I, on the other hand, would say nay.
Look, you called Mex gay the other day, and I took that pretty well. For what it's worth.
What's the bigger insult?
If you said that about like one of Wes's interests, he would have been frothing at the mouth.
Well, that has happened actually. What was What's the bigger insult? Me calling Mex gay, or me not standing in the way of you being Kloptro?
Good question. I'll have to think about that for a while.
So, chat, it's time to make a decision. And do you see the decision that stands before them here, Quattro? Because currently, Cloptro for Kitten is above 8-Bit Kitty, but really only because of people denouncing 8-Bit Kitty for Kitten. If people were to remove their denounce, you would be saved. Or if they were, or if they denounced
what a shame.
Cloptro harder.
I never asked for this.
But they're not very far away. It could be done. If until I denounce 8-Bit Kitty. I do appreciate how easy it is for people to like switch around their positions on all this stuff, and how likely the board is to just completely change moment to moment.
Well, it just proves that this is a good system.
Well, I hope so. It's very much experimental right now.
Here's the other thing. I want to tell you straight up, like, look, if it means that I have to fall on top of a bullet in order to help the community, I'll do it.
I appreciate it. Ghost has denounced 8-Bit Kitty. Oh, okay, yeah, that's exactly what Quattro wanted. I'm afraid to say,
I've had another thought as well.
Oh,
the fact that I matter to you guys so much that you would do this right before my birthday. It means so much to me.
Quattro, it's happened. It's happened.
Has it?
8-Bit Kitty is now way ahead. I don't know why. I think because someone new denounced Cloptro for Kitten. Hug says, I voted for Quattro. Lucky you.
Look, Matthias, if you want this to be criteria for support, then, well, guess what? I think it means you're going to have to deal with Spirit more. Do you really want that?
Thank you, Verdant, who says, once more paying for you to watch requested animes. Does that specifically mean Fate, Verdant? I will get around to that with Dai soon. The next show is the one she wants. So yes, it will happen. Thank you for the contribution, Verdant. For everyone's information, in case you missed it, the Cabal Aid system and the rating system behind it currently only pulls in from Subscribestar. I will add Stream Elements, which is what that came in with. I will add that next few days. It'll be in. It won't be very difficult to add that. What's more, if you want to go and sign up on Subscribestar, it is the most efficient way to influence this system. If you signed up as a recurring patron on Subscribestar, you get a 30% bonus to your rating per contribution. So if you were contributing, say, £1 a month, you would get £1.30 worth of rating in this system. Now it's dollars on Subscribestar, so there's a conversion rate there, but that's how it would work. What's more, currently the currency conversion is not good. It's currently just one fixed value. I'm working on an API or a library that I will create, which will give me historical data for conversions, which will change the values here a little bit, but not very much. So that's something that will happen. This is currently a prototype system like the old one, but I'm actually going to finish this one, or at least progress on it. So those are some important caveats. I guess I should add them to this. We will understand them. Let's see what this is. Matthias says, for the leader command, if you don't do the optional part, does it default to public? No, it defaults to private. So chat, if you want to influence the board, you can go to fund.oozaloo.net, right there, and you can become a patron. It really helps the server for you to do that. And the fact that you're willing to not quite guarantee, but to default to contributing it regularly will give you a bonus for this system and all future ones. Now, in the old system with the Oozer coins, I didn't innovate very much because I was dreading interacting with the code base. It was really messy. This one, it needs to be tied in a bit, but it's way better. It's so much more amicable to change. So there's going to be a lot of innovation. This is something, the Cabal leaderboard is something I did in the space of about a day. Because I just thought, yeah, I could do that. And I could, and I did. And now it's done. Now it's this. It's already, arguably, better than the previous system. Already, in a day. So for a long time, I've been promising you all kinds of innovation and new features and stuff, and I've often said I need to do this first, like the rating system or the user economy first, because a lot of stuff is based on that. Well, I get a chance to prove it now. So let me make sure that Verdant was actually talking about Fate. And Overlord, yeah. I like Overlord. You don't have to pay me to watch that, but I do appreciate the contribution. Cannot possibly be using subscribe star. My rating is single digits. That's Verdant. Yeah, indeed. It's you were contributing via stream elements.
You know, if I had the money, I would be paying you to play Armored Core.
All right, there's a public post of the current state of the board. Let's see. It looks like Kloptro is back in the lead for Kitten.
Oh no,
that's bad news. There's Verdant's contribution. Thank you, Verdant.
Wait, should we put, I guess, a wider announcement for the event tomorrow?
Yeah, absolutely. Go ahead, Quattro. You have the floor.
Wonderful. So tomorrow for the 4th of July, I'll be doing a bunch of movies, putting them out here in Cabal. So around 2 p.m. Eastern, I will start with Ford versus Ferrari. That'll be the first movie of the day. Ujli will do his stream afterwards. And then after that, there will be 2 follow-up movies. The first being Postal from 2007, the best video game movie adaptation. And then we'll end off with Team America, World Police.
None of these movies I've seen, so I'm looking forward to giving them a go. That's the broad plan for the day. When I do my stream, it will be America themed, which it usually is because that's where a lot of the interesting news is coming from these days. But we will do an America themed stream quite intentionally. Which is why today's stream I was planning on doing more of a sort of all kinds of stuff, not necessarily just politics, because a lot of it we want to save for tomorrow. There's a lot of American politics news to talk about, which we will be doing mostly tomorrow. And I'm sure that there'll be loads of American stuff happening tomorrow. It's the 4th of July after all. But it's also Quattro's birthday. That is worth noting.
Indeed it is.
Let's have a look at
the...
Go on.
If you don't mind me doing a little bit of shilling here, I have set up a throne as my my graphics card appears to be dying, and I kind of do need another one to continue with my game's development. So if you would like to contribute to that fund, you are more than welcome to go to the link in my profile's description.
So currently, good news for 8-bit. Matthias is no longer supporting 8-bit for Kitten, which means that Kloptro for Kitten is in the lead. So yeah, that's bad news for someone. Yeah, I think I'll put a bit more features into it. The thing for only showing up the ones that have more than one supporter is probably a good idea. That's probably something I'll do. And maybe, I don't know, the system does involve people being able to very quickly switch from one topic to another. And really, there's only one person that sort of has that power. But they won't have it absolutely. It depends on what other people do. But I may have to do some sort of limitation on, because especially if I'm automating the kittening, I might have to say that every time someone becomes a kitten, they remain kitten, or every time something is enacted, it remains that way for 24 hours before the next one comes in or something. Just some basic limitations, but I don't mind the way it works so far. I think it's pretty good. Klopp throne is real, says Kieran. What do you think about that, Quattro?
Well, I mean, it's a pretty easy joke to make. I'm not going to say it's not funny.
All right. So, shall we move on? I did see that. So obviously we talked about that on the last stream. All right, one last check of the board. Yeah, it's still Kloptro right at the top there. Bussy Smith. Why did so many of you support that one? Level 4. Is that someone advocating for there to be a level 4 role? Yeah, Plug 8-bit is pretty low. Let's just at 8-bit.
I am surprised that Falco for Band isn't up higher.
Yeah. Bad news. You're no longer favored. Okay. Matthias, just out of curiosity, has there been any movement on the deputy system? There will be. That's one of the next things I'll do. It's quite simple to implement, actually. All I need to do for that is a little program that sees when someone gets timed out on the server and then removes one role, adds one role, and alerts people that it's happened. Once I've done that, I can switch over to the deputy system. I mean, I could already, but I'd much rather have that first. So once I've done that, I'll probably do deputies. I also want to switch over from unperson to the positive role, which is it's not necessarily a bigger job. It's a bit more careful because I need to change everyone's roles. Because everyone will have what I might be calling basic right access role, or it might just be BWA, assuming that's not an acronym for something else, rude or something. But you probably all will just have a very simple role, which then I can give a color to, so they won't be white named anymore. It'll be a color of our own choosing. But then that role will be taken away if someone is a prisoner. So it's just way easier to work with Discord permissions in terms of only positive roles. Negative roles don't work very well. So that's something I want to do at the same time as the deputy system. So those are in the near future, but I want to build out the rating system and the stuff around it a bit more first. But yeah, deputy system is soon. Okay. Almost as equivalent to tier 4 Oozlu Stalker role. No, tiers and levels are different. Tiers are for patrons, and levels are for seniority. So level 4 would be above what is currently level 3. Watchman is kind of level 4, but it's not. I don't want it to be thought of in that way. I actually don't know what that means. Is it new Triple Dice Cat comic?
Indeed, it is.
Chat, I made a new feature, Cabal Aid. Wow, have you made it Matthias proof? No. I never intended to make it Matthias proof, but I feel that this one's a bit. Oh, I've covered it up. I'm sorry. There we go.
Amazing.
Sorry about that. I never intended it to be Matthias proof, but I just wanted it to be a bit more open for everyone else to participate in. So we're about to go to politics, and
I think, as far as things go, this is pretty good, considering that more people are actually able to do stuff with it now.
Yeah. The only thing I think isn't great about it with regards to what big spenders can do is how rapidly they can completely change the board. Like if Matthias wanted to suddenly switch between 8-bits kitten, Quattro's kitten, 8-bits kitten, Quattro's kitten, he could. And that's not necessarily a problem, but I might put something in there that's general for everyone's benefit, that would apply to everyone, that would make that just a little less strong. I'm not sure. I will try and find a fair way to do it that pleases everyone. Kieran says, anytime Cabal invents a more watertight feature, the universe invents a richer Matthias. I did not design this to even attempt to reduce Matthias's influence. The only difference really with how I saw that going is that the old TP system it favors far too much one particular strategy, which doesn't just keep one thing above the other things, it makes it unlimited how high up I can go. And that was just a bit too much. So I have changed the old system to rebalance that a bit, but this new system requires a lot less fiddling about with the numbers to balance it, I think. Matthias is very irresponsible with his money. Glossy says, can I bring real women in here? Yes, of course you can, but I don't know, I'm not necessarily convinced that you know of any. Oh dear. Well, I don't suppose I need to post this, do I, Glossy? Because you'll just stand by everything you say, but That has now happened. Solna, you are now the father of this creature. How does that make you feel? Verdant, stop encouraging Matthias to invest in something other than Cabal. How could you? As long as at least he's the top. Ezreal says the baby wants to see the goings on. Didn't we agree that... the younger. Okay, yeah, you've got 2 kids now. All right. Well, I mean, I guess there's just a brief gap where the first child was now old enough probably to not watch my streams. And now the second one is still young enough that they can be started on my streams. She's learned a few. Yes. So you have recognized that the older of your 2 children has passed beyond the age where it's reasonable to say it doesn't matter if they watch your stream; they won't understand what's going on. She's learned a few words. I hope she didn't learn any words from me. Big baby can say hello, bye, up, ball, and Daytona. Okay.
Pretty good.
Have you taught her Cabal yet? Glossy says that he's an admin of a few servers, but most women are pretty silly. I'm not sure how those 2 statements are connected, but I'm sure they're both true.
So was that before or after the programming socks went on?
Because the programming socks are definitely on. There's no questioning that. I'll have a look at the latest state of the board. And I'm forcing it upon all of you too. I'm afraid, Quattro, your fate is still rather sealed. Someone's voted for FF0060, my pink. Donate to Clop Throne. I'm being asked by Matthias to ban Glossy because Glossy is now confirmed a Troon and a Janny.
What you say, like those things aren't hand in hand usually?
They sometimes are.
You not heard of the tranny Jenny?
It's an interesting coincidence that they rhyme, isn't it? Vox, what are you doing? Why have you posted that? All right. Bussy Smith for admin is now in 8th. The only reason it's not higher is because Matthias isn't supporting it.
Probably also the only reason why Falco for band isn't higher.
If Matthias supported Bussy Smith for admin, it would be in 3rd.
Uh-oh.
Matthias says all Jannies are trannies, but not all trannies are Jannies. I think it's more of a Venn diagram in both cases. There's a few Jannies in Cabal that aren't trannies. Actually, none of them are, I don't think. I don't know, Verdant, have you changed your lifestyle since last time we talked? Glossy says, you guys want to see a real zoo. You know, I think a lot of us have probably been to real zoos. Like in real life. In real life. But what did you mean by that exactly? Verdant says, still working on a rule set, so it's up in the air. Triple says, I thought Verdant and Bright are the same person. Well, they are, of course. I guess they're like trans-physical, because they're in different places. Says, I am a kind overlord of the TP boards. Well, we will balance it so that everyone's happy. Kieran says, don't go in there, you will regretty spaghetti. I'm not fucking clicking on it. I recommend the rest of you don't. A tranny, white name, has linked you to a server that they have described as a zoo. Don't fucking click it. Why would you? Right. Well, I'm glad you view it at least as a matter for celebration, Triple. One of the next features I will make is the feature that will search through all Cabal posts. It will go back deep into the past as well, and it will give people points for all the posts that they've made according to their popularity and their quality and whatever it can assess about them. Probably mostly from reactions and also from replies. So Triple already got lots of points for her comics in User Coins, but that was artificial. You'll be getting points naturally for your comics in this new system, because I will also make sure that each channel has a different multiplier for how many points you get per popularity. And Cabal Shrine will have a higher one. Now, with that, we'll have to be careful to make sure that all the posts in there are actually should be in there. But yeah, any memes that are about Cabal, which get a lot of popularity in Cabal Shrine, will get a lot of points, which means that Triple probably will get hundreds. Burden says Tomboys and Oozloos will have the highest ratings. Tomboys might have a slightly higher rating. Quattro, are you about to ask me to bump up the multiplier for a certain channel?
Which one? Whatever do you mean?
Well, look, okay, if it's metal and you can get in it, you're into it.
If you're talking about that channel, I don't think we necessarily need to make that one crawlable.
Well, I suppose not. But it wouldn't do anything with the information except to give points. Although this...
Oh, in that case,
yeah.
Then perhaps.
Well, the new system will give points, but it will also be a replacement for cross feeds. So it will post them into other channels, but I can still be selective about which ones do what.
Ah, okay.
I mean, I'm going to be configuring it from scratch,
do you know
so I can do whatever.
There is a way to, I guess, mirror a channel's permissions when it's in another category, like automatically?
Not automatically, no.
Okay. Well, then, considering the amount of people in there, I may need a role for it. A brand, if you will.
What for exactly? What do you mean? Oh,
for that channel, considering how many people I've had to manually add in one by one.
We could make a role for it, I suppose, yeah.
I'll have to give it a funny name. So I'll think about this.
All right.
Decisions.
So, Quattro, do you reckon I should give a certain ultimatum to a certain flake?
Ooh, I believe so. Well, depending on how it goes, you'll probably have an opportunity to post sooner, honey, when it's ready.
All right.
I say go for it, though.
Chat, we are finally doing something that might potentially solve the die question. There we go. I have sent it. It's very friendly, inviting her to join, but it is basically an ultimatum. So chat, you know how Dai is such a colossal flake? Well, I decided I'm taking matters into my own hands. I'm actually taking responsibility for this individual. And we're just going to watch the next episode of Dandadan that we've been watching with Dai, and she's welcome to join. So if she wants to do her job, if she wants to do Marvel Rivals instead, she's welcome to. But she'll miss the thing. I think this is how you have to do it. If we say like, "Hey, Dai, can we set a time for?" Nope, that's already no interest in that. It's worse than me for this. It already involves time schedule and management and having to figure out what you're doing at what times. No, she's not interested. She doesn't respond to you at all. If you say, "Hey, we're doing this at this time," come or don't. That might work better. So there's being ruder to being less considerate might actually be more to her tastes and more something that she would approve of. But either way, if she doesn't turn up, we still get to watch anime. Dandadan is very good as well. So, fun fact, Dai has actually said that she's not a flake. She actually believes that she isn't. It's incredible. Vader says they're going to.
Yeah, to the amount of times I have tried to organize showing something with her, and only for her to just not appear for several days.
Yeah. Invader says they're going to goon to Dandadan without you if you don't get in here. I wouldn't go quite that far. I do intend for today to be a shorter stream than usual, though. I'll probably go for 2, maybe 2.5 hours. And then after the stream, we will either do a because there's a lot of you here, and if a lot of you stick around, I might start by doing another James Bond movie or Johnny English or an Austin Powers, one of those, because we're doing those recently. Or we will go straight into Dan to Dan. Especially if there's fewer people around. But we'll do a Dan to Dan after the movie if we do a movie. So that's the plan for this evening. Shorter stream with just a little bit of politics and memes, and save a lot of it for tomorrow on July 4th. Which it is now, July 4th, actually, in the UK.
Oh, neat.
Happy birthday, Quattro.
Oh, thank you.
Burden says no Overlord, Sacred Kingdom. We can do that too. Especially, we'll do Dan to Dan first. And I would be doing the Bond movie because it has way more broad appeal and more people can be involved. But then after that, we can do Dan to Dan. And then after that, if I'm still awake enough, we'll do Overlord. And while all this is running, I can be sort of casually coding stuff in the background. That sounds like a good evening plan. Tons of broads in James Bond, says Verdant. Sure are. There sure are. Verdant says she doesn't even respond to tits anymore. She's learned the manipulation methods and she's dodged them. Maybe she just likes feeling wanted.
I thought I was doing a favor by saying the thing that would get her to see more titties, but apparently this
I think
has somehow backfired.
She would rather dodge the need for timekeeping than see tits.
How melanated of her.
Well, I kind of understand. I have a similar predilection, just not quite as bad. But yeah, I honestly think this new approach of dealing with dye might be better for her, as well as obviously for everyone else.
I see it as a win. Okay. Yes, honey, I know.
All right. There have not been many changes on the board. I'm afraid to say Cloptro for Kitten is still in the lead. Although, did it...
actually, speaking of her flaking out, when was she going to be doing that stream that she said that she was going to do when you guys bought her that PC? I wonder.
Yeah, quite.
It's been, what, 7 months now?
Mm-hmm. Dai for Fujoshi Manager is now in number 14. Verdant Sex Change Operation is now in number 11. And Donate to Clop Throne is now in number 9.
Now, that being said, if anyone were to donate to my throne and help get me that graphics card, I will actually put it to good use for Cabal as well, like a certain someone.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, appreciate it. You're welcome to put a link in chat if you'd like to, but it's just in his bio chat if you go and click on his name if you want to help him out.
Right here.
Right. And also, if you're going to click that link, definitely...
Fuck out the bias. Right, if I do that, I'm going to be predated on by Vouch.
All right, so just to make sure that we're all on the same page, just do... there you go. I have supported that as well now. Donate to Clop Throne. Yes, Verdant, he's going to use the new graphics card to render his horse VTuber.
In before, it's just the rape horse from Berserk.
Glossy says, I can't find the interracial goon server, but let me tell you guys, it's a real hoot. Glossy, you're really not defying expectations here by being an extremely degenerate tranny. Kieran says, I'm so happy my retarded ass brought so much cringe day one. Did you add Clop Throne? I suppose so, Somnolux, I suppose so. So you have Kieran to thank, Clop, to fucking Quattro for
you.
that.
I guess this is now my cross to bear, huh?
Pug says the AI anime model called Pony was called that because of what it was trained on. Oh dear. Yeah, it appears that you have gained a clop to bear, a cross to bear. And I can't remember why it started, but I think it might literally only have picked up because you seemed to not like it.
Oh, to be completely fair, I did play up my initial reactions a bit because it makes for good viewing.
I appreciate it. Glossy, there are still degrees. There are still degrees of how degenerate people are on the internet, and you are far more degenerate than most people here. Eric asks, how do I remove a small cylinder from a pony? Realistically, I think he's quoting, but I'm going to go with asks. Grudge says, I'm really pretending to be against it.
Well, I mean, like, anyone that actually knows me, I don't really give that much of a shit. But, like, you know, when it's funny, right?
Mm.
And whatever is funniest, you know, I'll roll with it.
Fair enough.
It's just how I am. Because I assure you, I've heard far worse.
Oh, dear.
Although, oh, there was this one time where...
Lads!
What?
It worked!
Oh, no.
It worked already!
What is this?
I've got a response from Di.
Oh.
She says she can watch one episode.
Ah, wonderful.
Which is all we need.
What a slag.
I believe the strategy has already paid off. Glossy, that server banner is fucking manipulative on that one that you just linked. Also, I think I'm going to ask you personally, not as admin, but I'm going to ask you personally to stop linking shitty degenerate servers that no one should ever join. Don't fucking click on those links. If you click on those links and something happens to you, it's completely your fault. No, not one more, Glossy. I'm asking you to fucking stop. Kieran says it's because Cloppy McTro admitted to being able to recognize brony porn instantly even when cropped. To be fair,
it was pretty obvious.
I mean, it was pretty obvious, but also you probably shouldn't have said that.
I have eyes, and I wished at that moment that I didn't.
Indeed, Eric, it does. Glossy found the interracial goon server.
You know what? I think I might be the first person in internet history to try and dunk on a brony only to have it backfire. Like, how is this even possible?
Is there a comic for this yet, Triple?
I'm working on a different comic right now.
Oh, I see. You're avoiding the topic that your household would be offended by. Is that it? It's just tribal. This is just typical journalism.
No, I'm just
offended.
She's just busy. She's just doing a different one. Okay, that is fair enough. Someone says
I can't work on two comics at once.
That sounds like a skill issue. Someone says the cropped thing is kind of funny. I think on some of the synthetic man streams, he put some Family Guy stuff in the background that was really obscured, but his brother was able to make out most, if not all, the episodes as they were shown. I don't know what the detail there is, but yeah, you're fine, Triple. Thank you for working on comics. Ezra says, I'm back. Big Baby is now playing with water. Gundam top coat is drying. Oh, right, you've painted it. Little Baby is feeding, he says. Viewer says, what is it with the women in this server being journalists? Matthias says, a Troon, Cybersmith, Simp, Janny, and a coal burner. He's in a race to the bottom with Falco, and he might be winning. I don't think he's winning against Falco, but almost everyone else.
No, and I would argue that my wife being referred to as a journo is probably worse than anything that's ever been said about me here. And I'm surprised it didn't get more of a visceral reaction out of her when, you know, I would argue she's more of a cabal historian.
All right, chat. Whatever you do not type in /support triple for journo.
Oh, no.
I'm married, though. I don't want to peg Invader.
Invader has never been so disappointed. Invader says, I'm not sleeping with Triple. Wow, that's a big leg, Israel. Why are they different? One's naked. Oh, I see.
Yeah, so
Speaking of
one
which, thanks,
is
Invader.
with the armor on, the other is just the frame. And that's the perfect Great Unleash kit, isn't it? I fixed your hands on one of those. Damn.
Of course,
Yeah,
you know what
you've
it
activated
is.
my autism.
Of course, you know exactly what it is.
Why do you sound
The thing is,
horny, Quattro?
I. Hey, look, Invader, you shouldn't ask questions you already know the answer to. And as was said before, my autism is being activated. Real talk, though, those kits are kind of hard to come by.
Lads, Triple for Journo is now in 3rd place.
Oh,
It's higher than Coptro.
oh no.
There you go. I think someone in particular supported that.
I wonder who.
Mm-hmm.
You've been hit with the journo stick, honey. How's it feel?
Matthias says it could be anyone.
I wish you could see the look on her face right now.
Fucking number 12 pegged Invader, and new at number 12 pegged Invader. I will need to add many more elements to the UI so people can see like when things are new on the board, when things have moved up or down compared to last time. Invader says cease. Never. Eric said to the moon. Chat, send pegged Invader to the moon. Go ahead, fucking /support pegged Invader. It is done. I will. I have 0 rating, by the way. I've never contributed to myself on Subscribestar, but I will be able to increase the support for that topic by increasing its multiplier. So look at that. Oh no, he's arousing Quattro even more. Uh-oh. Triple for Journo is now in 2nd place.
Oh,
And pegged Invader's
damn.
moving up as well. It looks like one person has denounced pegged Invader. I wonder who that could have been.
I wonder.
What the
That's a very nice frame,
Number
Ezreal.
15, Triple Invader Pegger.
It's going to confuse so many people.
I do recommend in this system you use spaces where you can, because then it will capitalize better and be clearer. Pegged Invader in 2nd. Oh no, is it? Have you just supported it? It has gone to the moon.
It really has.
Invader, what do you think about this change? What are your opinions on this latest development? Invader says, and so the muzzle of a gun looks pretty tasty right now. Moo says you should pull Falco onto stream to hear his thoughts about Cabal Aid. I'm sure he has lots of wisdom to share. I don't think so, no. I think I would...
I was just going to say, it seems that there's a roach in the chat.
I'm just seeing one ignored message popped up every now and again, and I recommend the rest of you do the same. Invader says, I'm going to make Pulse look like an airsoft party. It is. That's the joke, is that it's the name is like the replacement for USAID. Like you look on USAID, you see just a bunch of like ridiculous things that they're sending a bunch of money to that they're supporting. That's what Cabal Aid is too. It's just a bunch of ridiculous things that we're supporting. Which you really question why they're even bothering to support it. Maybe what I should do with the topics is, if I do want to change it from this to make it a bit different, what I should do is to have. Hold on, let me just do this. We're not a politics memes, are we? What I could do is have it so that the amount that you can currently see on there now, the total amount of it, all its rating, that's its destination, and the actual current value moves slowly, like gradually up to the destination. That would at least slow down changes, so it wasn't possible to just instantly make someone, instantly switch who was what. We can make it change by like, I don't know, maybe 10% of the difference per day. So it takes 10 days to get to its destination. The only thing that would really nerf is the ability for one person to just instantly change who is where. It would still happen. It would just take a bit longer. So that's probably fine. I might do that. Matthias says, Oozaloo is happy Cybersmith for admin is back down to 13. Well, almost lost my server there, lads. Oh, I have fucked up entirely there. Try that again, shall we?
Amazing.
Yeah. So let's see. Where is Cybussy Smith for admin is back down in 13th, indeed, yes. No, King Engine, it's only just the 4th of July. We'll do a proper one during American 4th of July tomorrow. Pug, why are you trying to explain things to Falco? Just fucking ignore him. That's a good point, Eric. If I lose Cabal, I still have Broken Crown. Being that I am the admin of Broken Crown. You know, chat, people have suggested that I demote Dokchok in Broken Crown. Well, if you support that idea, you could always support it on the new Cabal Aid board. You could just support demote Dokchok. And it is spelt like this, by the way.
Oh, it seems Falco has just realized that he's up on the board.
It's I'd recommend that you use this. This is how it would be spelled. Moo says, sometimes it's fun to attempt to explain things to the retard. It's like trying to teach a chimp sign language. Fair enough.
Well, the difference is a chimp can actually have the capacity to learn.
Yeah, I'd far rather interact with the chimp. Glossy says, can I make the server banner spin with Blender? Will you use it? I might do. Yeah, I might do. Do you mean the server icon? Might do. It would get annoying, though. I haven't ever put an animated icon on the server because I just figure it would be annoying. What I would maybe do is to have like a light, a sort of subtle shimmer effect over it. Maybe a small sort of pulsing fade in, fade out. Not fade in, fade out, but like scale in, scale out, zoom in, zoom out. That's about all I want to do with it. But we could do that. I could do that myself. I just haven't got around to it. Moose says, you're both correct, but I'm not sure how to get a chimp onto Discord. Maybe I'll have to go to my local zoo and give him my account.
I'm sure you can probably figure it out. Look, if the average hood dweller, the usual pavement ape can figure it out, a regular chimp definitely can.
Eric says, you're playing a dangerous...
I've seen them handle firearms better than North American pavement ape. So.
Eric says, you're playing a dangerous game asking Glossy for something pulsating. True. Pulsing. Quattro, does that picture in fact arouse you?
It makes me laugh.
Hello, Ginger. A troon is trying to send you the cat smiley face. Ginger, what happened is this. You're no longer on the board, actually, but you were at the top, or not quite at the top, but close.
Briefly.
Yeah. So as it stands right now, Invader is actually up for kitten. And probably would have to be renamed to Pegged Invader. But we, at the time that we decide to start using Cabal Aid for kittening rather than the TP board, that's what we'd do.
Well, we could decide this democratically.
And if we were doing so, we'd make Falco kitten.
Oh, what I mean by that is we can run a poll right now and see should we switch over the kittening to this board or the other, or keep it on the other one for now.
I think I won't switch over just yet. I want to make a few more small tweaks to it. But
all right.
I also think it shouldn't be up to the community broadly. It should be up to the person that has donated the most into the system, mostly. So not yet, but I think soon. We could potentially find some way of doing both. We could have two kittens, one for each board, I suppose. Kieran says he may have added yet another cursed topic. Let's see what that might have been. Yep, I can see what it is. Let's have a look at the leaderboard on my end here, and I'll take a screenshot if you want to see it on the stream. Let's try something here. If I go to this. Oh god, that's taking a long time to load. Second chat. Sorry about this. Did I break the new toy? No, this is a different issue entirely. This is just a storage issue. Hold on a second. I have a better way of doing this.
Well, it appears Falco in chat is demonstrating his single-digit IQ.
Yep, standard. I'm not looking at what he's saying, but
surprising absolutely nobody.
Yep.
No, it is surprising. Single digit seems a bit high.
Okay, there we go.
Perhaps that is the case. Yeah.
So, Enigma Monster.
We made need a retest.
Enigma Monster has arrived back on the board. All of these people are higher than you now, Quattro. It looks like it looks like the favorite to be the favorite of the community to receive great disrespect is Invader, and then Triple, and then Ginger, and then after that is you, and then Clovey. So yeah, I think this works okay because Matthias gets a lot more say than anyone else does monetarily, but it can't ever just be by his say-so. Or it can, but if it is, it's rarely unapproachable by other people. It still needs other people to approve it compared to other things he wants. So if he's voted for multiple things, other people can still choose between them. So it's essentially like a like nested hierarchies of control. Anything that Matthias wants to put near the top, other people get to choose completely between those. It's still not so high that other people couldn't get something above his level if they all denounced his thing. So it's not too badly balanced. That in the old system, it pretty much always had to be either with his consent anyway, or there would be a fight and a temporary stay, but it rarely lasted very long. But yeah, don't forget, chat, that you can increase your rating by contributing, specifically on Subscribestar. Do you know, it's weird, I haven't actually had a tip contribution on Subscribestar for a very long time. Have they hidden the button or something? Did something happen with that? Because I used to get them occasionally, but people stopped sending them there. Like sometime last year. No, Glossy, you signed up as a subscriber. But actually, you can actually send tips on Subscribestar as well. They must have moved the button or something. Matthias says, in the future, will you make it so we can support, demote, and revoke multiple topics at a time? I also second the idea of being able to see what we support, demote, revoke in the past. I've already forgotten half of what I've done already. Yes, I will make a UI to show you what you've supported and demoted. Denounced, rather. I will make a UI for that. But you can currently support and denounce multiple topics at the same time. Do you mean that we should have a command, like in the command that you should be able to enter multiple things? Okay, we could do that. It would be a small convenience feature, but we could do that. Wait, you also tipped on? No, you tipped on Stream Elements, Glossy. I think you tipped via, you tipped via tip.oozloo.net, but you can also tip via fund.oozloo.net. And right now, those will count towards the board. So if anyone wants to send a small amount of money, I will open up to Stream Elements for this later, but for right now, you could send a small amount of money on Subscribestar and it would affect your rating on the board. Eric says, I have a great idea for a feature. Support chaos to randomly support or denounce every topic in play. Maybe. Oh yeah, Moo is correct. You can also visit reparations.racism.africa. Also, thank you to the person that has just signed up on Subscribestar. Maybe look at that. You are, whoever did that, I think, the 69th person to sign up.
Hey, nice.
Oh, no, you're not actually. You just sent a tip. Interesting. Okay, well, I guess it's still working. I'll read out the message. It says, nigger faggot, 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 nigger faggot. And that was the correct number of times as well.
What a profound statement.
Indeed. So I guess that proves it works. So, Glossy, if you... hold on a second. Okay, my system only checks on startup, who has how many coins. So I will fix that later, but for right now, I will need to restart it in order for it to reflect the amount that you just sent in. So let me restart it now. And then it should find your contribution, and you should find that you have a higher rating. So go ahead and do /C and see if your rating has gone up, Glossy. If you have linked your accounts, and actually, I don't think it'll work with you because you're not level 1. I think you can still do the /C check, but you can't actually.
Do you reckon we could fix that today?
Quite possibly, but you know who he has to convince. Oh, it did go up. Fantastic, Glossy. Someone else has just contributed. Thank you very much for that. Thank you for testing that Subscribestar contributions still work. They do indeed, and that has gone through. I will reload the bot, the new system again, and then that should reflect in your rating. In future, I won't have to reload it. I'll just have the system, check regularly. Currently, it's just checking once at startup, but I can easily have it check regularly. All right, whoever just sent that contribution, I know who it is, but I won't say. Go ahead and do /C, and you should see that your rating has gone up. Yeah, in fact, I can see that since I was testing this, there's 2 additional payments, which I think are these 2. So yeah, if you wouldn't mind confirming to me that it has gone up, I'd appreciate that. You can do that in DMs if you prefer, just wherever. Just so I know the system's working, but I think it is. Matthias says, I wonder how high my rating will go when Stream Elements is factored in. Probably quite a lot higher. It has gone up. Yay, it works. Hurrah. Moo says, can't you get a webhook from Subscribestar to Stream Elements to have it update immediately? Okay, a few things with that. I can get a web socket to Stream Elements, and that's a little hacky cheat that I'm going to use to get the contributions immediately. But no, it's not. I don't think you can do webhooks with Subscribestar. I could look into it. If you can, that's fantastic. That would be really helpful if you can. But I suspect you can't, in which case I just have to query their API. And if that's so, fine. I'll just make it query every 5 minutes. That's fine. But with Stream Elements, no, I can. My system will be able to grab them as they fucking happen, as quick as it appears up there. Because I'm just going to fucking steal the WebSocket link that they use for that. That's my grand plan. Invader says, Falco actively committing a leftist. I can't see it. Glossy claims to have boobs. Not real ones, though, Glossy. And I have to say, despite rather liking breasts, I'm not interested in those ones. All right, let's update the board on screen. Chat, we might honestly not even get to community stuff today. We will get to it. Oh, sorry, to news stuff. I said that we would, so we will get to it, but it may take us a while. This is all very interesting. So, Pegged Invader, how are you feeling about your new position? Go on, Quattro.
There are some Olympic level mental gymnastics going on in chat here. You might actually want to look at this. It's kind of funny.
There's another new contribution come through on Subscribestar. Remember, chat, every time you contribute on Subscribestar, I have to go and restart my bot. So if nothing else, you're able to like cost me some effort by sending me money. Because I haven't set it up to automatically re-retrieve the latest messages yet. Verdant says, everyone, maliciously add £1 donations. Fund.newzoo.net if you'd like to do so. Verdant, I've restarted the bot. Could you check if your amount has gone up? I say Verdant because the message is going to have you advertise Arcane by rule set one of these days, and everyone knows that that's Verdant's rule set. I'm certainly willing to mention it. I may well mention that I have made my own rule set as well. I haven't been working on that for a while because I've been working on Code for Cabal, as you've seen. But I will get back to that at some point. Verdant's making one that's a bit different from mine. I know that some people in Cabal have played with it. So I don't know how much he's done of that in Cabal. But you can find it somewhere, I'm sure. I think he's got a session on Saturday, so we'll be sure to stream at the same time. Invader says, Verdant has autism, but not enough for my liking. Listen, Invader, I don't need to hear your opinion. You're currently at the top of the board, almost, as Pegged Invader. Okay? Kieran says, added one last cursed topic before bed, added. I don't see it, actually. You must have done it before I restarted. What was it that you added? Return to the Penny Wars house. Yeah. That's the thing, is that if you want to compete in like Penny Wars style, then the competition still happens, but it happens in actual like real money donations. I suppose what I could do is to allow you to, when you support or denounce something, you can support or denounce it only a partial amount. So certain topics, you can deliberately put them within striking distance of someone else to try and encourage Penny Wars. That might be fun. I could do that. Yeah, indeed, Quattro. That was kind of how the Penny Wars worked. So yeah, this system may not encourage Penny Wars quite as much. Or if it does, it would have to be with small real money contributions. But that's not quite pennies, is it? Just not the same as Matthias. I'll find a way to do it. Kieran says, Oozaloo got Glossy's tip live or something. Boone just released a video, I drown in humble pie. Oh, did he? Interesting. Oh no, Puck! The command didn't go through. Support Glossy transitions Falco. It doesn't go far enough. I don't know what you're talking about there. Guys, don't let Falco trick you into talking about child mutilation. We're having fun, all right? All right. Let's have another look at the current state of the board. Oh, look, Invader is still at the top for being pegged. Invader, I believe that is your cross to bear. Yeah, add guacamole nigger penis to the board.
You spunk on one journo's tits, and suddenly you've been pegged by the whole server.
Maybe you shouldn't have been pegged by the whole server. Do you think of that?
What a quote that is.
Oh, and by the way, chat, there was a poll for what we call the rating. in this system. Currently, it's just called rating, but I could call it anything. The poll had many options. One of them was spunk, which I thought was quite funny. One of them was mana, and mana was the most popular. A little disappointing to me because I don't like that one very much. It's not very Cabal centric. It's very generic and kind of overused. So I mean, bear in mind, Matthias, what he just said is on record. It's recorded here. It's now on YouTube and Rumble and Twitch and every other site I use. But yeah, so in terms of naming the rating that we use for this, I don't think I'll go with mana, even though that's what everyone voted for. I'll have to come up with something, though. I was asking ChatGPT for a while. He didn't really have any ideas I liked either. I put all the ones that were reasonable on the poll. But I'll find something. I thought merit was actually a pretty good one in terms of it being literal. But the reason it's on /C, by the way, is because it was part of the old Cabal economy, which is going to use Cabal credit. But whilst credit literally can mean giving credit for something rather than in an economic sense, it is too tied in with economics, and I don't want people to think this is an economy. It's not exactly that. CEO of Racism Leaderboard. No, Cabal Lane is going to stay. The leaderboard doesn't need to be named. That's got a great name already.
Yeah, but also, we already have the CEO of Racism, and that's Moo.
I suppose so.
Specifically, racism.africa.
I see that Falco just deleted a message. 1 second. Just...
How bad was it?
Oh, or did he actually? No, I think... never mind. I think it was a reply to something that Invader deleted. It wasn't actually. I don't know. I think it was, yeah.
That Perry deleted.
It must have been something Parry deleted, yeah. I think that's what it was. So, yeah, so that poll is now over, and Mana won by far. That was an Arcanium for a few days. A lot of people voted on it, so I think that is... If one thing is the opinion of the community, it's to call it Mana and not Spunk.
I have a request of the community.
Go on, Ginger.
Whenever Falcushin makes an assertion, reply to it using the GIF that I have posted there.
That's too nice.
Yeah. All right, I felt it was dishonest to imply that this stream was actually about politics, so I've changed the name on YouTube. We will actually talk about politics in the show at some point, but I do intend it to be a short stream, and we're already near the end of the time I said it was last. So we'll go on for a little bit longer. We'll talk about politics at some point, and then we'll do what I mentioned. We'll do a big old movie night in Cabal.
Wunderbar.
Yep. I think I'll mention to Dai that we'll probably do a movie in the next half hour or so, then Dan after that. There we go. So yeah, I'm taking the reins in this relationship with Dai, in this friendship with Dai, but I'm taking the reins. I'm not asking her, if that's convenient for her. Because then she has to think about what her timings are and whether that's good. She just won't reply. She'll just ignore it. No, I'm just telling her what we're doing. You see, I think this is actually better for both of us. Yeah, Matthias. Yes, King Engine. There's one new episode of the new season of Dan to Dan. I have it downloaded. I really like Dan to Dan, and maybe it's just because of the tomboy character, but you know what? That's fine by me. Burden says, I'd like to imagine that the leaderboard is how many coin clippings we put down in support of the topics. Sure, if you like. Yeah, I think every aspect of the old TP board that was positive, including the Penny Wars, is something I'd like to try and find a way to include in this one. And I'm not sure exactly how I'll do that with the new one. But I will try to find a way.
I imagine with like direct donations that can still do that, right?
Yeah, but it's way more effort to go to somewhere, to click a thing, to do a thing, to send a contribution. And if it's one
True.
penny, it's literally not worth doing that through online payment processes, because they'll just take the whole
that
penny.
might also flag the transactions for your
Maybe.
bank as well.
But if they can just send in like £1 or £2 and just have it in their inventory to just send in as pennies whenever they want to, then that works. But there has to be some. There therefore has to be some cost to spending it. I'm not sure how we would do that, but I'm sure I could figure something out.
So we're gonna need to rework the ooze economy, I see.
But the thing is, I'm trying to avoid this system being economy-like, because it could potentially be a legal question as to whether it's even allowed. The Ooze coin system might have run up against legal issues if it was ever challenged. This one probably wouldn't, because it is just a sort of a rating of how active you are and how much you've helped the server. I don't think, if it really does act like a rating and not like a currency, I don't think anyone can be too upset about that. But yeah, I want to make sure it's not too much like a currency. Maybe what I could say is that you can put a small. Oh, nice. There's those. That's what I mean. It retrieves it every few minutes, so it got them all at once. Maybe I can say that you can put like 25% of your total rating towards stuff on top of the amount that you've put anyway, but that extra 25% you have to actually apportion out. It's like it's spent. It's limited rather than being able to go to everything. And with that, people could throw pennies. Burden says, upset that my rating is so low and mod shit really does not pay. I'm thinking that I will have certain roles give a flat sort of baseline minimum amount of rating. Moderator would probably give more than the others. So that is not exactly paying you to be in the server. It's just more like how much you add to the server by being here, I suppose.
It's compensation.
Sort of. Invader says he wishes he could throw real pennies. Is that because you are feeling insecure, given that you have been widely recognized?
So I would chase after them.
Given that you've been widely recognized as the pegged, which I now notice that you're not anymore. Pegged Invader is down in 9th. Looks like Matthias has withdrawn his support for it. Triple, now you're at the top.
Oh no. Oh man.
Oh, and she's already got a new comic as well.
I don't believe you. Prove it.
Oh, you hear that, honey?
Here you go.
You know what you're gonna have to do.
Cyrus.
Right. Oh, new comic dropped.
Yeah, there you go.
Matthias felt that Pegged Invader was too close to tomboy supremacy. Right. So, what are you guys doing? We're sacrificing Cybersmith to the drama god so Dai will come to watch anime with us. You were going to do what? We've tried everything to contact her. She's a level 100 flake. Sacrificing Cybersmith won't actually help. What an ungrateful Hibernian. You should have had, I assume this is Atronach and Verdant, you should have had them say, well, worth it anyway. Are we going to aggressively ping Dai with this one?
Oh.
Thank you, Triple. Fantastic as always. Ginger says, how can all of them be so fucking excellent? What black magic do you wield, woman? Well, as you can see from the TP board, I believe she wields the black magic of Journo.
But it doesn't explain how funny woman happens. Because, it's usually considered an oxymoron.
Mm. Chat, if
it
one
still
of you...
astounds me, and I married her.
If just one of you with, say, 60 rating were to support a nigger monster, that would be above triple. Or if one of you were to denounce triple, then that would go below nigger monster. Matthias says, hold on, she's just stealing memes from Cabal. She's not actually funny. No, I don't think that's true at all. Comics are not stolen. They are based on memes from Cabal in many cases.
She is our lore keeper.
I suppose so. Chat, honestly, we a lot of us lamented Silent leaving during the Misfits drama because he used to document a lot of lore. Personally, I think this is much better.
What? Because it has pretty pictures.
Yeah.
Yeah. Told you.
Eric says print the board. All right, let's print the board. Oh, okay, thanks. thanks for putting that stupid broken ass entry in. I may need to improve the regex. I mean, it's just a bunch of apostrophes. I mean, to improve the regex to make sure that there are actually some real characters in there. Pug supports transitions is in there as an option. Luckily, the way I've designed this is that it keeps a complete record of what people have done, but the actual system will only load in things that are valid. So that's the perfect mix. So there will be a record that he's done that, but it won't actually appear in the system because it checks when it boots up if all of them are valid. It doesn't know them if they are. Burton says, is there one for 24 swastikas? No, but also the swastika is not a valid symbol that you can use in this, I'm afraid. Matthias says print board again. Right, what, have you elevated the apostrophes to the top? Yes, he has. Oh, and the nigger monster is at the top of the board as well.
Indeed.
There's the current state of it, chat. Look at the absolute state of this board. It's changed a lot since the stream started, I have to say.
It's a resounding success, clearly.
Have you noticed that Falco for Band isn't on the board anymore?
Oh, shit. All right, who's been slacking?
Ghost says, proud of the four of us, crossed out you, who voted for Cy Bussy Smith for admin. 4 whole people want him as admin. Kieran says, support Glossy for Falco Beta. Yeah, it just says, guys, what the fuck? Yeah, that summarizes this pretty well. What's wrong, Pierre? Which one of these do you actually object to? Is it triple for Jono, or is that just too
Falco
much?
for Band not being up there anymore.
Yeah. It just says, see why I say it's Matthias's bizarre sexual fantasy version of me? It's quite the obsession. Wait, is Matthias secretly Cybersmith? God.
What a revelation.
Well, calling you a nigger monster, it's just a dyslexic version of your existing name, Ginger. Yes, as Falco for Band not being there is just sad. Well, it's got a lot of supporters. They just... it's just not any of the really highly rated ones.
That means that they've been slacking.
Bug says we are cheap. I wasn't going to put it that way. That's a good point. 8-Bit Kitty's not even on the board anymore either.
True.
Yeah, I think the changes I'm going to make are several, but I will consider using actual rating as a destination, so changes are lower. Because right now, I think it's just a bit too frenetic, a bit too easy for very few people to have too much influence suddenly. I don't mind them having a lot of influence, but when it's so sudden like this, it's a bit much. Ginger says, perhaps it's dyslexia, but the only other person he has such an obsession with is 8-Bit, and I'm pretty sure he wants to bone her. Possibly. Matthias says, that was such a stretch, it's almost not worth responding to. So what Ginger's saying, it's a sexual obsession? Yeah, I don't know. I mean, just because he's obsessed with 8-Bit for sexual reasons doesn't mean he's obsessed with you for sexual reasons. It could be obsession for other reasons. Or was Matthias saying that about something Falco said? Kieran, have you added Pierre? Aren't systems the cutest when they're slightly retarded? Thank you, Kieran. That's a very good point. Ken says, perhaps limit people from switching only once a week and a maximum amount they're allowed to support. No, because then there's a massive amount of like doubt on whether it's a good idea to support. Like people would be hesitant to support something because they only have a limited number or they have to support it for a certain amount of time. No, I think the way of just having the current amount move gradually, it'll be based on the percentage of its total. We could even have it over the course of 24 hours, actually. It was okay. So if I do, let's check one more time. I think Pierre might have been featured on the board now. Number 13, Matthias' stretched anus.
Oh no! Oh no!
And anything else new? Donate to Klopp Throne is still surprisingly high. Oh, Falco for Band is back on the board.
Oh, wonderful.
With easily the highest multiplier of anything on the board. Pug says, try using the raw multipliers? What do you mean by that, Pug? Times 15. No, I don't think we're doing that. And that's a bit too much. Kieran says, I for one approve of the latest Cabal Chew toy. Can't wait for our Lord and fundraiser Matthias to monopolize it. Well, he might do. But as I said, I don't want it to be too monopolized at any point. I want to try and find a good balance. Pug says, lower ones can leapfrog if popular. I don't want it to be too easy. Like, a lot of people supporting something, I hate to say it, chat, but it doesn't really help the bottom line very much. Yeah, it says, give Apprentice the maximum amount of coins and support Falco. That should be adequate. But it says, balance, he says, as it's already proven that Matthias is the only influence. No, not the only. He's the one that, gets to decide whether things are near the top or not. But others can decide what wins within the ones he decides are near the top. But either way, it probably is still a bit too much. So I might make that change I mentioned. So it's at least slower. Kieran says, on the contrary, this is an evolutionary arms race between your autism and Matthias's wallet. Maybe.
I've just noticed something as well. Despite donate to the Klopp Throne being up there, nobody's contributed. Sag. My wife's calling me a Jew. Thank you, honey.
Oh, well.
I don't actually expect anyone to get me anything.
Kieran says he's not funding your brony fetish. Do you guys believe that Quattro's throne is about his brony fetish? Quattro, you didn't put any brony stuff on there, did you? I did say you probably shouldn't. But you insisted.
What?
Pierre says, yeah, but that means he arbitrarily still can just decide our topic pool. The only limitation is someone else also has to vote for it. Yeah, that is true. But that's pretty much how it already was. I think it's just 1p. Ginger? That does exist, though. Yeah, there it is.
Second time's the charm.
I'm afraid to say that with the old TP system, it was also mostly Matthias's choice. what got to where. I think the main difference now is that it can just come out of nowhere. That a topic can just go from nothing to the top instantly. Yeah, well, Invader, if it was entirely, then that means this system is no worse than that. But I think it will be a bit easier to control this one to make it more balanced if I want to. Double says, how frequent does the rating system update? Whenever it's requested. If anyone contributes and want to see an update, then let me know. And I'll need to restart the bot for it to catch the latest contributions.
Thank you, Kieran.
Right, there we go. Okay, so, chat, unless there's anything else on this broad topic, shall we move on to a bit of politics? I have a lot more stories than we'll cover today, and I'll save most of them for the big July 4th stream tomorrow. And then we'll do a little bit of politics now, and then we will go on to the Cabal movie night that we're going to do afterwards. So let me change
politics in my Cabal stream? It's
Yeah,
more
I know.
likely than you think.
It's actually a lot less likely than you'd think. Invader asks what movie. Can someone put up a poll for the Sean Connery, James Bond movies? And we'll do one of those. I will pin the poll if someone else could put it up. And if you don't worry, I'll put up the poll after we finish. We already watched Goldfinger, so not that one. Bossy says, can we watch British movies only? We're doing Bonds right now. You could also put, I tell you what, actually, I'll do the first poll. So, do watch after stream. Bond, Austin, Powers, or Johnny English. So this will be, what's his fucking name?
That is the point of a
Brosnan,
poll.
the other one.
It's inherently multiple choice.
All right, and then 1 hour, multiple answers, go. There you go. I will pin that now. Go ahead and vote for what you'd like to see. This will be immediately after stream. Ghost votes for Johnny Bravo. I'm putting these on right now. I've never watched Johnny Bravo. I think I may have seen it a bit as a kid, but not very much.
It holds up surprisingly well.
Fair enough. We maybe should watch it at some point. Looks like Austin Powers is getting the most votes.
Looks like it.
Chat, I am frankly ashamed that I am so far. Oh, now there are 2 people who have voted for Rowan Atkinson.
Oh, I do like Rowan Atkinson, but watching the first Johnny English movie reminded me of just how much the comedy is based on cringe, which I don't usually enjoy. Now, Rowan Atkinson doing it makes it way better, but still.
Ginger, don't be frank. Don't cut your dick off.
Very good advice.
Indeed.
All right, I'm going to have one more look at the leaderboard. I won't post it at you. All right, it's a little bit different than last time. We have a small change. True, verdant. The votes have formed rather a penis. Cool. All right, it's a nigger monster followed by triple for Jono.
Gold member, if you will.
Gold member. 2-inch balls, 10-inch shaft as Invader. Is that what Duchess used? No, he says. Go ahead and support Invader.
No, it was a foot-long shaft, that's why.
Mm-hmm. Ghost is what? Was it bigger? Bigger than that? Go on, Invader. Was it bigger than that? Must have been 12 inches. Yeah, must have been.
I need to stop drinking again.
Look, we all know Invader's a size queen.
The fuck did you just call me?
Support invader size queen. There we go. I've thrown my support behind invader size queen.
Not even have a response.
Matthias says, we all know Duchess is bigger than Invader. Ted says, who would have guessed Invader enjoyed being invaded?
We're saying she lacks girth.
I was going to ask that, but then I'm pretty sure Invader is a girth demander. Hold on. Slash support invader girth demander. There you go. That's on the board. Well done, Ghost. You have added to his. Go ahead and put all those on the board. Support all of those ideas. Dauntless says Invader demands the XXXL 18-inch monster strap on. And I could do with some monster right now. Anyway, moving on to politics. Did you know that the House of Representatives approves the big beautiful bill in victory for Donald Trump? 218 to 214 vote marks final approval of package of tax and spending cuts. Invader, don't think too much about that word package. He did it, guys. He actually got it through before July 4th. He wanted to. That was his goal. He actually succeeded. I didn't think he was going to. I thought it was going to take a while longer back in the House. Donald Trump has secured passage of his flagship tax and spending legislation after the House of Representatives approved the bill, handing the US president a political triumph 6 months into his second term. The 218 to 214 vote by the House on Thursday came after Democratic Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries spoke against what he called the ugly legislation for a record 8 hours and 44 minutes in a symbolic act of defiance. Jesus Christ. The House's approval came hours after the president quashed a rebellion among House Republicans who threatened to hold up what Trump calls his big beautiful bill. Are you tired of winning yet? Said House Speaker Mike Johnson in a speech to the chamber just ahead of the final.
Can we hold up a moment?
Mhm.
Hakeem Jeffries, wasn't that the guy who pulled a fire alarm in the middle of?
I think it might have been, yeah.
Debating.
Yeah, I think it
How
was.
the hell does he still have a job?
This is a good question. So I'm once again distracted by the board. It appears Kloptro for Kitten has once again clawed its way into the top 4. And It Bit Kitty's back in the top 5.
I'm in danger.
Invader's Dragon Dildo is in number 9.
All right, yeah, they get rewarded for that, Burden. I forgot.
Oozloo got
My
Glossy's Tip in number 13. And that's all the new ones so far, I think. Or Glossy for Falco Beating is on there as well.
How's Falco for Band doing?
It's in 7th with 16 votes, but it hasn't hit 1,000 points yet.
Oh, we got to get those numbers up.
I suppose so. Anyway, sorry, this is way more interesting than politics, but still, we got to talk about politics.
What would you do if Falco for Band hit the top?
Well, I'm afraid it wouldn't cause me to ban him, but it would certainly tell me the community really strongly wants it to happen.
I think you already knew that.
Which, yeah, but it would show a significantly greater. It's like a protest. You know, the government doesn't have to do what you say, and sometimes it's better that they don't. But it shows willingness, and it shows that if they want the approval of the public, then they will do it. Anyway,
so what you're saying is we need to do more lobbying.
It is kind of a lobbying system, yes. Vernon says, imagine if Wes and Co returned just to approve of this petition. Well, they'd return, they'd approve of Falco for Banned, and then they'd approve of Invader for Pegged.
Will you please sign my petition?
And we'll be watching that tomorrow.
If my ass is the price I have to pay to ban Falco Shin, I hope someone has a leather strap I can bite down on.
You know, Invader, you didn't have to say that. That was optional.
Don't worry,
that.
Cat will be gentle. I mean, what?
Quattro, please no.
I decided not to interrupt Invader while he was making a mistake by saying that. Invader, did you know, Invader, that my streams are actually recorded?
Yes.
Is that just how much you hate Falco that you'd be pegged to get rid of him?
I'm willing to sacrifice a few things if it means we get to kill him in real life.
Including your
Talk
bussy?
about taking one for the team.
God, I hope it was only one.
All right, chat. I put support towards Breathless Invader. He's already been pegged by Duchess. This isn't a big ask for him. True, Matthias. He has a history. So, quote, "We have a government that is accountable and responsible to the people once again," Johnson added. Optimistic, but it's closer, as he hailed the bill's tax cuts and money to beef up border security, two of Trump's campaign promises. The president would sign the bill into law at 5 p.m. on Friday in Washington, which, if 4th of July, it's pretty big for Trump for it to happen right then. According to White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt, meeting his self-imposed deadline of July 4th. The legislation extends the vast tax cuts from Trump's first administration, paid for in part by steep cuts to Medicaid, the public health insurance scheme for low-income and disabled Americans. I think it's only steep cuts to the illegals being able to access it. I might be wrong about that. There might be more cuts than that. And other social welfare programs. Because I didn't hear about him actually cutting it for people that needed it. I think he's just reducing waste. I mean, I don't know for sure, but Trump has never been about taking things away from those who need it. He's never done that, as far as I know. It's always been taking things away from those who shouldn't have it. The bill will also roll back Biden-era tax credits for clean energy, which I think is a good thing to do, while scaling up investment in the military and funds for Trump's crackdown on immigration, both good things at the moment. It's been projected to add more than $3 trillion to the US debt over the long term, raising worries among economists. And this is the big rub. We've talked about this a lot. I'm not going to go into it in great detail again. Previous streams have more detail, but this is a sort of a gamble. We're
big rub, you say?
It's a what? Sorry?
A big rub, you say?
This is the big rub, as Invader found out in that lodge. Ghost says, but Uzlu, I've been assured that Trump will be personally slapping medicine out of the hands of sick infants. What, you mean like Falco? But yeah, no, I don't think so. Yeah, the question, and I repeated it enough times, I will just say it again briefly. The question is it worth the increase in spending for the government over the long term to put this bill into place? And when we first saw it, I was very dubious about it because we've had loads of previous governments who have spent big and it's never been good for Americans. Even someone that's spending big and it is good for Americans, we have to doubt it. But having read through what's in the bill, and I haven't read through the actual text of the bill, it's like thousands of pages, but having read a summary, obviously most of it is stuff that will actually make America richer, that will free up its productivity, and will solve long-term problems. So I personally would lean towards it's worth raising the deficit ceiling because it will come down later. It unlocks the ability to bring it down later. So it's probably for the best, but we're going to have to find out. It's a risk we're taking on trusting Trump on this one. Jeffries, the Democrat House leader, attacked what he termed the devastating consequences of this reckless Republican budget. The Senate had approved the measure on Tuesday after Vice President J.D. Vance cast a deciding vote. Congrats to everyone. At times, I even doubted we get it done by July 4th. Vance said on X on Thursday afternoon, but now we've delivered big tax cuts and the resources necessary to secure the border. Promises made, promises kept. The House's approval caps a tumultuous start to Trump's second term. The president has rolled out sweeping tariffs, announced sweeping curbs on immigration, and bolstered executive power. In foreign policy, he's launched airstrikes on Iran's nuclear facilities, but struggled to achieve the peace deals he promised in Gaza and Ukraine. Yeah, those have been more difficult than even I expected them to be. So that is disappointing, but it's probably that I was wrong to assume they'd be so easy, not that Trump is incompetent. The tax bill has always been central for Trump and his top officials, largely because it implements many aspects of his 2024 campaign platform, including tax relief for tips and overtime pay and support for fossil fuels, all of which are good ideas. Fossil fuels obviously very bad in general in terms of pollution, but it is needed in the short term until we can get something better set up. But to secure the vote of the president needed to twist the arms of Republicans concerned about the bill's impact on the national debt and health provision, ferociously attacking House members who opposed it. The president had to overcome a campaign to stop the legislation by billionaire Elon Musk, who bankrolled his election campaign but fell out with him last month. Musk said he would pour money into election campaigns to unseat Republicans who support legislation that could add trillions of dollars to the national debt. This bill includes the $5 trillion increase to federal debt ceiling, the largest one-time rise in the limit, etc., etc. Two members of Trump's party, Kentucky Representative Thomas Massey and Brian Fitzpatrick of Pennsylvania, approved the legislation. So that's a big deal. Thomas Massey is a very principled, I think, libertarian in Congress, who has even stood against Trump on a lot of matters where Trump has spent money that Massey thinks shouldn't be spent. Now, I respect Massey's position greatly, and I think he is well worth having around. In this case, as I said, I lean towards it probably is better that Trump passes it, but not sure. I want to hear more of what Massey says, but Massey has decided to approve the bill. I'm not sure what they offered him in return, maybe nothing. Maybe he just decided it was a good idea. Either way, that is good news. It shows a less divided set of the good people in the party, let's say. But every Democrat opposed a bill whose tax provisions they said would overwhelmingly benefit the wealthy, which I don't think has ever been true, while the spending cuts would leave millions of Americans without healthcare insurance. The tax cuts from his 2016 term, we looked into them at the time, they would benefit the wealthy, but they would actually benefit the middle class and the working class much more, at least proportionately. Now, if the Democrats are saying in absolute numbers it benefits the wealthy more, well, that's not fucking useful, is it? That's not useful information. In terms of changing their lives, it's overwhelmingly more in a positive direction. It's overwhelmingly more beneficial to the middle and lower class. So that's what he's continuing with this bill. He's renewing those. So it's probably just an unambiguously good thing that's being continued. And the healthcare insurance, I think the US healthcare system is a total abusive mess anyway and should be totally overhauled. But because it exists as it is, it's very easy for anyone to claim that any reform of the system is tearing away healthcare and medicine from the hands of those who need it, which I doubt is what's actually happening here. Trump has maintained that the bill's tax cuts will deliver a new era of high growth, which is probably true. However, the legislation's biggest near-term fiscal impact will come from preventing an automatic increase in income taxes that would have otherwise come into effect in 2016. Yeah. And the thing is, like in terms of balancing the budget, increasing taxes allows you to spend more. But the correct approach is to, at the moment at least, is to spend less and tax less. That's what the Western world seems to currently need. What Trump is doing is taxing less and spending a big chunk all at once. We hope that's the last time he'll have to spend such a big chunk. We don't know that, though. Which is not really the right way around. It's hard to say that this will be funded. The best that we can say is that maybe with tariffs he'll be able to fund it. Maybe with the country just becoming so much more productive, people will be paying more in taxes, even though the tax rate is lower, which is definitely possible. Otherwise, it is going to be an unbalanced budget. And they're going to have to borrow more. As I say, taking a gamble on the notion that this is the last time there'll have to be a big spend by the government, because these priorities in the bill actually seem to be quite useful for long-term sustenance and for the health of the economy. Can only hope on that one. Matthias says you can only increase tax so much before getting negative returns. Indeed, yeah, and I think they're probably past that point. I'm willing to bet yeah, exactly. I bet we are. I bet we are. Well, says, fuck the version on the congress.gov page doesn't have the NFA cutoffs in it. I did see someone saying that they had been added back in. I'm not sure if they are going to stay, but we'll wait on that. We'll wait and see on that. So, Republicans argue that they have delivered on Trump's electoral promises, while Democrats are attacking them for turning their backs on middle-class and low-income households, which I don't think there's any basis to that. Despite criticism about the fiscal impact of the bill from some in corporate America, US business groups have largely supported the legislation because of the tax cut extensions. Cutting taxes for businesses creates jobs. It's not necessarily a nice answer that you have to do that, to an extent, but you kind of do because they have the power to go anywhere. Having a aggressively progressive tax rate just makes your economy weaker. It doesn't mean that you bring in more money. A slightly progressive tax rate I'm okay with, but an aggressively progressive one is just a bad idea, which is what we're currently doing. Our Labour government is currently doing, which I think is a terrible idea. The Business Roundtable, which represents the chief executives of some of the biggest US companies, called the legislation a monumental victory that would help fuel US investment, innovation, and economic growth for years to come. There's only so much that you can spend, so much time, Democrats, that you can spend whining about the damage, illusory though it probably is, that this will do to the working and middle class, and pointing over at the rich, saying we like this, and saying that's a bad thing. There's only so much time you can spend on that before you realize, actually, the economy kind of does need wealthy, successful people in it. It does need them to be satisfied that they can continue to use the US to earn money, because that earns the US money as well.
Yeah, it turns out to have a functioning economy, you need all kinds of people.
Yeah. And it is just an unfortunate reality that wealthy people will go to where the economy is the most friendly to them. Lowering taxes on them keeps them in the country, keeps them spending in the country. $940-page bill. I am not reading that. And sources to tell you that. AI generated answer. Interesting. Was that X? Was that Grok giving you that information? It looks like the Grok UI. Might not be, actually. Oh, it's Google's AI. Oh, there you go. Put together last minute. Yeah, thanks, Google.
Google's AI is a bit special, shall we say?
It's not quite as good as the others, no.
Yeah, by that I mean basically worthless.
Yeah. If you're trying to search for something these days, if you want something less biased, search it on X. If you want something specific but hard to find, search it on ChatGPT.
Or even Yandex does better.
Honestly, yeah, it does.
And that's not saying a whole lot, mind you.
Well, if you want to search for something that's both, right, that's specific and hard to find, and also you want an unbiased source or relatively unbiased source, then Grok. That's your spectrum of search engines these days. X.
Well, you definitely don't want to use Bing.
Yeah. X for just finding things. Grok for hard to find political things. ChatGPT for hard to find non-political things. The only thing I really use Google for these days is searching for things I already know exist. I just don't know where exactly they are. It's a real shame to say that. But yeah. And when I say Google, by the way, I mean all traditional search engines. Matthias, 1,000 pages of text is like maybe less than a megabyte. Depends how much is on them. So it doesn't matter how long the document is, unless they're uploading scanned images, in which case it's still not very big because it's just black and white. It could be easily optimized. It's 2 meg. There you go. So yeah. It doesn't really matter how long it is. The Senate Pass version is 2 megabytes. Yeah. Sounds about right. Right. By the way, since turning the screen share down to 480p, performance has been much better. So it's that.
No,
it is for sure that. And I thought it was as well, because I actually worked with ChatGPT to try and find the source of the interference. And it was, it became, I used the tool which is supposed to like check for interruption sources. And they had this thing called stream trans, which would be concerning, but no, it's stream transcoding. It's for YouTube. And that was the one causing almost all the problem. So it's the YouTube screen sharing. I think the X.
So you're saying stream trans was trying to kill itself?
I suppose so, yes. And I think it was garbage collection as well. I think using the higher stream rates was probably hitting the garbage collection cap too often and was just constantly doing it. With 480p, it's not hitting it at all, so we're fine. It's fantastic. I haven't had a stream this stable in quite a while. Now I know exactly what the problem is. I may be able to do something about it. I'm going to have to look into reconfiguring Discord's garbage collection through command line arguments, which you probably can do through Electron. So I'll look into that. Eric says topics support new streaming CPU. Genuinely, and thank you in advance for even considering this, let alone doing it if anyone does. But you can go to gif.oozaloo.net and there are a couple of CPUs on there. There's the 5900X and there's the 5950X, both of which would be significant upgrades for me. The cheaper of which is a little over £200, and the 5950X is about 260. Now, I haven't made them as like long-term funding goals, because if people want to just send money, I'd rather they just send money. It's a bit easier for them to do that anyway. And I will spend it on what I need. The CPU is a fairly high priority item at this point, actually. But if anyone is feeling extremely generous and would like to get me the CPU, it genuinely would go towards making the streams more stable, easier to run. Of course, why is there a Vaporeon Funko Pop? Look at the description. It says it right there. Matthias says there's also Wizard Crack. There certainly was Monster Energy on there. I don't know if it's been dropped off by now. Those listings on Amazon tend to disappear after a while. I'm not sure why. But yeah, those are available on there. And I'm certainly not asking for it. It's a real long shot because it's a lot of money to spend. But it is there if people want to help me out with that. And if you want to put money towards a new gaming CPU, then you can contribute via the normal means, because I probably will spend it on that at some point in the near future. It is genuinely a business expense. It would be very useful, even the 5900. Yeah, those are the links. I'm having another look at the board. Oh, something has happened, which has not happened in an age. Ladies and gentlemen.
That being?
Ladies and gentlemen, it has occurred. I think it's about to unoccur, but I have the screenshot. Matthias for Kitten.
What? Oh!
Matthias says, I have removed my hand from the board, except for Tomboy Supremacy, I take it. Well, Matthias, you don't have to. Was there a reason that you did? Ginger says, the 5950X is very nice. I bought it when it was new, but I can confirm that it's extremely good. It is the best CPU that my board can support because it's AM4. But it might be overkill.
I've heard a lot of good about it.
If I went for the 5900X, which is also very good, then it would be a fair bit less money, and the rest could be put towards a later AM5 upgrade. Borrowing the topics he forgot he'd announced, yeah. I will make a system so that you can check a command that allows you to check what you have endorsed and not endorsed, rather than announced. Yeah, as it turns out, if no one else is influencing it, then Matthias for Kitten becomes the top voted thing. Eric says 5900 XT is about the same price as 5900X right now, and confusingly, XT actually has 16 cores, not 12. But the XT is usually the upgraded version. Did I even know that there was an XT variant? I knew that there was for the
pretty recent thing.
Yeah, let me have a look. It can't be that recent because this is 2 desktop generations old. I think it's 4 years, maybe not 4 years old, but it's old.
There's still a sizable amount of people running AM4 builds. So
yeah, indeed.
Every time they say, yeah, this is going to be the last set that we do, they end up just doing more and more.
Well, yeah, but the 6 series and onwards, including the 7 and 9, which is their desktop series, they're both AM5. Oh, I see what you mean, like a new release in AM4. Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
So 5900 XT, it is there. Is that... I haven't seen this on here before. Is that recent? So that gets a score recent, that gets a score of 44,000, and the X gets 39,000. That's quite a significant difference. And
what they do is
50X, 45,000. Ooh. Yeah.
They take their more recent chips, and they take the ones that weren't quite as good yields.
Yeah.
They can't bin for the other chips, and just say, well, fuck it, we'll just put it on this platform, and we can at least sell the stock then, because they've had some problems with the yields.
Yeah.
But it's been good for us, so I'm not going to complain.
Indeed. So looking at the prices on Amazon currently, which is not the only place we can look, obviously, the the 5950X is a much better deal than the XT. The XT is £268. The 5950X is £236, but the 5950X is better. I think it's better in every way, but it's actually cheaper. Jesus, the 5950X being £236, that's a huge drop. It used to be at least £30 or £40 more than that. It must have come down because of the release of the XT, which I guess was pretty recent. I've never seen the 5950X that low. Right now on Amazon, the 5950X is cheaper than the 5900X.
Ooh.
Which is odd. There's a used 5900X for 217 quid. Memphis doesn't go any lower than this, though. That is very low for that processor, I have to say. Yeah. Nowhere else even has it that low. Yeah, Amazon has it that. Oh no, CCL Computers has it that low as well. Actually, it's actually a bit lower on CCL Computers. I think they're a UK retailer. That should be all right.
Yeah, I'm not familiar with them.
I've heard of them before. Yeah, they have it for 232 quid. That's much lower than I've seen these before. 900X is still more expensive. How? The 5950 has really come down in price recently. I don't know why. It's cheaper than both of those other processors, and it's way better. Well, compared to the 5900X, it's a bit. Sorry, XT, it is a bit better, but it is still better. It's older though. Maybe less efficient. Yeah, it would be a really significant upgrade to get the 5950X compared to what I have now. I think it's more than double the pass mark CPU score of mine. On my Throne, it's showing a much higher price for that processor, though. I'm not sure why. Let's update the Amazon listing in case anyone would like to.
It might be
do that. I think
it might be including tax.
Maybe it doesn't. Sure. It's not usually that much higher, though. I think it is probably just a different Amazon listing. Can I change the thing it points to? I don't think I can. No, it looks like I can't, actually. Is this a different listing, or have someone just got the wrong amount? No, this is the same listing. They've just put the wrong amount for the product. I don't know why. Maybe I can...
Weird.
Maybe I can make Throne reduce the number, because that's way higher than it's supposed to be.
Is it currently on discount, or...?
Yes, but it's not discounted as much. Like, they have it at 307. But on Amazon, it's discounted from about 350 to about 340 or something like that. No, not 300, sorry, 200. So 236. Can I just enter like no. Proceed. Just do I do 240. Does that work? Well, it changed it. I guess if someone were to contribute towards that and it turned out not to be enough, Throne would just say, or like we rejected the payment because it wasn't enough for the product or something. Either way, that is now available. Sorry for that distraction, chat. We haven't done very well for staying on the topic of politics today, have we?
I suppose not.
However,
but that's what tomorrow's for.
Yes. Tomorrow will be a big day for all kinds of stuff. But for tonight, I think we'll wrap up here. I'm going to have a little look at that poll, which I think I put in the pinned messages, didn't I? It is Austin Powers by a long shot. So it's been a very long time since I've watched any Austin Powers. And I've never actually hosted an event of them before, but we'll find a good one. We'll probably, unless there's any sort of chronology to them, we'll probably just get a list of them, and I'll just put them for a poll vote. But if they're sort of chronological, if you should watch them in order, then we'll just start from the beginning.
They are chronological, and there's only 3 of them.
Okay.
So
fine, we'll watch them from the beginning then. That works for me. In that case, chat.
Can confirm, Quattro is right.
All right. In that case, chat, thank you so much for joining me. We will be back with a bigger and more politics-focused stream tomorrow. For now, though, I hope that you will all join us in Pit 1 for a brief chat before we then move to a stage channel and we'll watch an Austin Powers movie. After that, Quattro and I, and possibly Dai, will be continuing with Dan to Dan, which is an anime we've been watching recently, which we rather like. And a new episode just got released today. And then after that, if we have time, we will. What was it we said we were going to do after that?
I forget, but I might have something else to put on.
All right. We will do that anyway, chat. Yep. So, good. Thank you for joining me. Hopefully I'll see you all after the stream. Good night. And thank you for joining me as well, Quattro.
Good night, everyone.